I'll be back.
Action! Relax, it's okay, just a tire. Don't look at the door. Cut.
Watch out. Terminator 2, Judgment Day at a theater near you. And now, only at Subway, the Thirst Terminator Collector Cup. Filled with 32 ounces of your favorite soft drink. Get it with your favorite Subway sub. Oven fresh bread piled high with the freshest ingredients from just $1.69. Terminate your hunger. Terminate your thirst. With this summer's blockbuster hits, only at Subway.
Terminator 2, Judgement Day is a 1991 American science fiction action film directed by James Cameron, who co-wrote the script with William Wisher, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, and Robert Patrick. It is a sequel to the 1984 film The Terminator, and it is the second installment in the Terminator franchise. In the film, the malevolent artificial intelligence Skynet sends the Terminator, a highly advanced killing machine, back in time to 1995 to kill the future leader of the human resistance, John Connor, when he's a child. The Resistance sends back a less advanced reprogrammed Terminator to protect Connor and ensure the future of humanity. The Terminator was considered a significant success, enhancing Schwarzenegger's and Cameron's careers, but work on the sequel stalled because of animosity between the pair and Hamdale Film Corporation, which partly owned the film's rights. In 1990, Schwarzenegger and Cameron persuaded Carolco Pictures to purchase the rights from the Terminator producer Gale Ann Hurd and Hamdale, which was financially struggling. A release date was set for the following year, leaving Cameron and Wisher 7 weeks to write the script. Principal photography lasted from October 1990 to March 1991, taking place in and around Los Angeles on an estimated budget of between $94 to $102 million. Visual effects by Industrial Light and Magic, which include the first use of a computer-generated main character in a blockbuster film, resulted in a schedule overrun. Theatrical prints were not delivered to theaters until the night before the picture's release on July 3rd, 1991. Terminator 2 was a critical and commercial success, grossing over $520 million at the box office to become the highest grossing film of 1991 worldwide and the third highest grossing film of its time. The film won several accolades, including Saturn, BAFTA, and Academy Awards. Terminator 2 merchandise includes video games, comic books, novels, and Terminator 2 3D, Battle Across Time, a live-action attraction. Terminator 2 is considered one of the best science fiction action and sequel films ever made. It is also seen as a major influence on visual effects in films, helping usher in the transition from practical effects to reliance on computer-generated imagery. The United States Library of Congress selected it for preservation in the National Film Registry in 2023. Although Cameron intended for Terminator 2 to be the end of the franchise, it was followed by a series of sequels, including Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines in 2003, Terminator Salvation in 2009, Terminator Genesis in 2015, and Terminator Dark Fate in 2019, as well as a 2008 television series. Arnold Schwarzenegger returns as the Terminator, a reprogrammed Model 101 Series 800 or T-800, Terminator that is composed of human tissue over a metal endoskeleton. Linda Hamilton returns as Sarah Connor, a self-trained soldier who is dedicated to preventing the rise of Skynet. Edward Furlong as John Connor, Sarah's son who is destined to lead the human resistance in opposition to Skynet. Also starring Robert Patrick as the T-1000, an advanced, shape-shifting prototype Terminator composed of liquid metal. Earl Bone returns as Dr. Peter Silberman, Sarah's doctor at Pescadero State Hospital. Joe Morton as Miles Bennett Dyson, Director of Special Projects at Cyberdyne Systems Corporation. The film's cast also includes Jeanette Goldstein and Xander Berkeley as John's foster parents, Janelle and Todd Voigt. Hamilton's twin sister, Leslie Hamilton Guerin, appears as the T-1000 impersonating Sarah when Hamilton is also on screen, and Hamilton's infant son, Dalton Abbott, portrays John in the dream sequence. Twins Don and Dan Stanton portray a guard at the Pescadero State Hospital as the T-1000 imitating him. Michael Biehn reprises his role as resistance soldier Kyle Reese in scenes that were removed from the theatrical release. The Terminator had been a surprise hit, earning $78.4 million against its $6.4 million budget, confirming Schwarzenegger's status as a lead actor and establishing James Cameron as a mainstream director. Schwarzenegger expressed interest in the sequel, saying, "I've always felt that we should continue this story. I told James Cameron that right after we finished the first film." Cameron said Schwarzenegger had always been more enthusiastic about the sequel than he was, because Cameron considered the original a complete story. Discussions about making the sequel stalled until 1989, in part owing to Cameron's work on other films such as 1986's Aliens and The Abyss in 1989, but also because of a dispute with rights holder Hemdale Film Corporation. Hemdale co-founder John Daly, against Cameron's wishes, had attempted to alter the ending of The Terminator, nearly resulting in a physical confrontation. A sequel could not be made without Hemdale's approval, as Cameron had surrendered 50% of the rights to the company to get The Terminator made. Cameron had also sold half of the remaining stake to his ex-wife, Galen Hurd, producer and co-writer of the first film, for $1 following the 1989 divorce. By 1990, Hemdale was being sued by Cameron, Schwarzenegger, Hurd, and special effects artist Stan Winston for unpaid profits from The Terminator. Schwarzenegger, aware Hemdale was experiencing financial difficulties, convinced Coralco Pictures to purchase the film rights to The Terminator. Having worked with the independent film studio on the big-budget science fiction action film Total Recall in 1990, owner Mario Casar described the film's rights acquisition as the most difficult deal Coralco ever conducted. He accepted a $10 million offer for Hemdale's share and paid Hurd $5 million for her share. Prior to development, the total cost of acquisition rose to $70 million. After factoring in incidental cost, Casar told Cameron that in order to recoup his investment, the film would proceed with or without him, and offered Cameron $6 million to be involved and write the script. The film would become a collaboration with several production studios: Coralco, the studio Canal Plus, Cameron's Lightstorm Entertainment, and Hurd's Pacific Western Productions. The studio also had an existing US distribution deal with TriStar Pictures, which stipulated that the film be ready for release by May 27, 1991. Memorial Day. With his scheduled release date, he approached his frequent collaborator and the Terminator co-writer William Wisher in March of 1990. Cameron had 6 to 7 weeks to write the sequel. He spent 2 weeks developing a film treatment based on Cameron's vision to form a relationship between John Connor and the T-800, a concept Wisher believed was a joke. The treatment diverged from the science fiction slasher theme of the original, focusing on the unconventional family bond formed between Sarah, John, and the T-800. Cameron said this relationship is the heart of the movie, comparing it to the Tin Man receiving a heart in The Wizard of Oz. Cameron's concept featured Skynet and the Resistance, each sending a T-800, both played by Schwarzenegger, into the past, one to kill John and the other to protect him. Wisher believed a fight between two identical Terminators would be boring. The pair briefly considered the larger Super Terminator, found it uninteresting, and adopted an earlier idea that Cameron had for the Terminator: a liquid metal Terminator resembling an average-sized human, in contrast to Schwarzenegger's large frame. The first half of the concept concluded with the destruction of Skynet's T-800, forcing it to use the T-1000, its ultimate weapon. Although he once considered removing the T-1000 altogether, Cameron solidified it as the only antagonist. Cameron and Wisher had the T-1000 take on the appearance of a police officer, allowing it to operate with less suspicion. Wisher found it challenging to depict the T-800 as good, without making it non-threatening at the same time. The pair decided to give it the ability to learn and develop emotions, becoming more human over time. They kept the T-800's dialogue brief, relying on the audience to infer a lot of the meaning through small bites. Its catchphrase, "Hasta la vista, baby," was something Wisher and Cameron said after their telephone calls. Wisher developed the first half of the treatment at Cameron's home over the course of 4 weeks, while Cameron worked on the latter half. Many pages were removed, including a convoluted subplot about Miles Bennett Dyson and the massacre of a campus survivalist helping Sarah. Cameron, who did not consider the budget while writing, had to cut some elaborate scenes, including a 9-minute opening that showed a time travel machine being used in 2029. Wisher and Cameron also frequently conferred with special effects studio ILM to determine which ideas were achievable. Cameron and Wisher analyzed the first film to help envision each character's development and evolution. Cameron believed Sarah's knowledge of the future would isolate her, forcing her to associate with survivalists and becoming a self-sufficient commando. She was written to have become an emotionally cold and distant character comparable to a Terminator, especially when deciding to go after Dyson. Instead of the story beginning with Sarah, John is placed with the Foster family to increase tension. John's character was inspired by the 1985 Sting song, Russians, with Cameron recalling, "I remember sitting there once, high on E. I was struck by the lyrics, 'I hope the Russians love their children too.' And I thought, the idea of a nuclear war is just so antithetical to life itself." That's where John came from. They spent 3 days refining the script before flying to Cannes, where Terminator 2 was announced in early May of 1990. Schwarzenegger initially struggled with portions of the script, once asking what is polyalloy. He also expressed concern about the character's non-lethal depiction, which conflicted with his action hero persona and portrayal of the character in the first Terminator. Cameron explained he wanted to defy audience expectations. Schwarzenegger requested, "Just make me cool." Schwarzenegger became interested in reprising his role after finding the character more complex and sympathetic than in the previous film. To accurately portray a fearless and emotionless machine, he trained exclusively with stunt coordinator Joe Kramer to remain unaffected by fire and explosions around him. Schwarzenegger earned between $12 to $50 million for his involvement. I can tell you it was much more. Carolco had been blamed for the increase in exorbitant salaries paid to actors. Having paid Schwarzenegger around $11 million for Total Recall. They justified the expense as the value of the lead's wide appeal in markets outside the US. To lessen the immediate financial burden, Carolco paid most of Schwarzenegger's salary with a financed $12.75 million Gulfstream jet. Cameron refused to recast Hamilton's role, but developed plans to work around her absence if she chose not to return. Negotiations were protracted, but concluded promptly after Cameron informed Carolco the script could not be finished until he knew if Hamilton would be involved. Hamilton received roughly $1 million, which he described as quite a bit more than her earnings for the first Terminator, but expressed disappointment at the pay disparity between her and Schwarzenegger. Hamilton requested that Sarah exhibit a crazy demeanor, explaining that after years of living with the impending doom of humanity, she believes Sarah would have transformed into an untamed entity, a warrior combined with a psychologically unstable woman. She continued, "The T-800 is a better human than I am, and I'm a better Terminator than he is." Cameron considered giving the character a facial scar, but determined that applying it daily would be difficult. Hamilton undertook extensive preparation for the role, working with a personal trainer for 3 hours a day, 6 days a week, and maintaining a strict low-fat diet, losing about 12 pounds or 5.4 kilograms body weight. She also received judo and military training from former Israeli commando Uziel Gal. Between training, filming, and spending time with her infant son Dalton, Hamilton averaged only 4 hours of sleep per day. She described her experience as sheer hell, enjoyed showing off her new physique. Hamilton's twin sister Leslie was also cast in the scenes, with 2 versions of Sarah appear on screen simultaneously. Robert Patrick, who was living in his car, was one of several actors in the late 20s considered for the T-1000 role. Cameron wanted a little actor resembling a newly recruited police officer to contrast with Schwarzenegger. According to Cameron, if the T-800 series is kind of a human Panzer tank, then the T-1000 series had to be a Porsche. Casting director Marty Finn believed that Patrick had the intense presence that he wanted. Patrick auditioned by acting like an emotionless hunter and later participated in a screen test to judge the way lighting worked with his skin and eyes. For this character, he drew inspiration from Schwarzenegger's performance in the original Terminator and observed hunting creatures, reptiles, insects, cats, and sharks. Patrick's facial expressions were based on those of an eagle, keeping his head tilted down to imply constant forward movement. He also employed a mixture of military posture with martial arts to express a fluid motion that differed from the T-800's rigid movements. The role demanded that Patrick be lean and fast, requiring peak physical shape. He learned to sprint without displaying heavy breathing and exhaustion, and received specialized training from Gal. Weapons Master Harry Liu taught Patrick to operate and reload weapons such as the T-1000 Beretta 92 FS without looking and eventually without blinking. Singer Billy Idol was originally cast for the role before seriously injuring his leg in a motorcycle crash. In 2021 retrospective, Cameron said that Idol had an interesting aesthetic, but in hindsight, you probably would not have cast him. Singer Blackie Lawless of the rock band Wasp was also considered but deemed too tall. Edward Furlong, among hundreds of prospects, secured the role of the young John Connor at his last audition. Cameron believed that early candidates for the role were either overexposed in other media or came from advertisement backgrounds, which trained them to be happy and perky. Furlong had no acting experience and was discovered by Finn at the Boys and Girls Club in Pasadena, California. Cameron described Furlong as having a surliness and intelligence, just a question of putting it out. He was required to take acting lessons, learn Spanish, and be able to ride a motorcycle and repair guns. Joe Morton believed his casting as Miles Bennett Dyson had to do with Cameron wanting a minority character to be integral to the changing of the world. Morton avoided interacting with the cast so that their on-screen relationships would seem believably distant. The role of Dyson was reduced after the preferred casting choice, Denzel Washington, declined because the role mainly required him to act scared. The planned 3 months of pre-production was reduced to meet the release schedule, leaving Cameron without time he wanted to prepare all the aspects before filming began. Over a week he spent several hours each day choreographing vehicle scenes with toy cars and trucks, filming the results, printing the footage for storyboard artists. There were no time to properly test practical effects before filming, so if effects didn't work, the filmmakers had to work around them. Principal photography began on October 8th and 9th of 1990 with a $60 million budget. Scenes were filmed out of sequence or prioritized those requiring extensive visual effects. Schwarzenegger found this difficult because he was meant to convey subtle signs of the T-800's progressive humanity and was unsure what was fitting for each scene. Cinematographer Adam Greenberg, who also worked on the Terminator, described the greater scope of the sequel as the most daunting prospect. Where he had been able to shout instructions to his crew on the original film, he used one of 187 walkie-talkies to conduct efforts over an expansive area. The production was arduous, in part because of Cameron, who was known for his short temper and uncompromising dictatorial manner. The crew made t-shirts bearing the slogan, "You can't scare me, I work for Jim Cameron." Schwarzenegger described him as a supportive but demanding taskmaster, with a fanaticism for physical and visual detail. Even so, by the 101st day of filming, Schwarzenegger and Hamilton were frustrated by the high number of takes that Cameron performed, spending 5 days just on close-ups of Hamilton in the Dyson home. To stay on schedule, Cameron worked through Christmas and persuaded Schwarzenegger to cancel a visit to the American troops in Saudi Arabia. 6 months of filming concluded on March 28, 1991, about 3 weeks behind schedule. The scripted ending depicted an alternative 2029 that was filmed at the Los Angeles Arboretum in Arcadia, in which an aged Sarah narrates how Skynet was never created while John, now a US Senator, plays with his daughter in Washington DC playground. To make the film more evocative and memorable, Cameron changed the scene to the one in which the characters look out the road ahead. The production ran until about 2 days before the film's theatrical release. Delays were caused mainly by the rendering of shots at the Consolidated Film Industries, the most difficult of which was the T-1000's death. Co-producer Stephanie Austin said the production crew worked 24-hour shifts and slept on site. The 137-minute long release print was delivered to the theaters the night before its release. News sources labeled Terminator 2 the most expensive independent film ever and predicted it would bankrupt Carolco. The summer theatrical season, spanning from mid-May to early September, was expected to witness strong competition among studios. 55 films were slated for release, compared with the 37 in 1990. Release dates underwent frequent changes as studios aimed to evade direct competition and optimize their films' chances of success to compensate for the 20% increase in film production costs since 1990. This increase was partly attributed to hefty salaries demanded by stars who claimed a portion of the film's profits. Moreover, revenues from box office receipts, video sales, and television network deals were on the decline. Films scheduled for release also included City Slickers, The Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear, Only the Lonely, Hudson Hawk, The Rocketeer, What About Bob, and Point Break. Terminator 2 was among the films expected to do well, along with Backdraft, Dying Young, and the year's predicted top film, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. It was also seen as having strong international appeal. An unnamed studio executive said audiences were seeking escapist entertainment, such as comedy or action, and avoiding films about less positive subject matter. Schwarzenegger was involved in Terminator 2's marketing and merchandising campaign, which was estimated to be worth at least $20 million. By 1991, advertising for Terminator 2 was ubiquitous, with high audience recognition despite its US R rating, which restricted the film to audiences aged 17 and over unless accompanied by an adult. Merchandise was mainly aimed at children. TriStar contributed about $20 million for marketing, which included a $150,000 teaser trailer that was directed by Winston and depicts the construction of the T-800. Trailers ran for 6 months before the film's release. TriStar incentivized cinema staff to play it frequently by offering chances to win Terminator 2 branded goods and tickets to the premiere. Fast food restaurants and soft drink manufacturers such as Subway and Pepsi also offered Terminator 2 themed foodstuffs and drinks alongside promotional posters.
We didn't kill him. We got it.
In 1984, film audiences were introduced to a new kind of villain.
You're terminated.
7 years later, writer-director James Cameron has re-teamed with stars Arnold Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton for the long-awaited sequel, Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
If it is little children today or grown-ups, the one line that everyone always asks me to say is, say, I'll be back. Say that line. Come on now.
Are you gonna be back or what?
I'm a cybernetic organism. Cybernetic Systems Model 101. I'll be back.
Those words took on new meaning in the fall of 1990 when cast and crew reunited in the Mojave Desert to continue the story of Sarah Connor and her fight against the machines of the future.
The important element that's changed in her life since we saw her last is that she's had her son, John Connor, and he's now 10 years old. The new Terminator of the film is not targeted on her anymore. The child now himself is the target.
Okay.
For Cameron, Terminator 2 was only a matter of time.
Action!
It was inevitable that a Terminator sequel would get made, and I wanted to be at the helm. I wanted to make sure it didn't kind of drift off the concept of what it should be about.
Cameron's vision of a killer cyborg from the future hit a chord with audiences worldwide.
The Terminator represented something to people, a kind of a dark side of the human psyche. People want to have that fantasy of being able to do exactly what they wanted to do whenever they wanted to do it. It took us all, I think, a while to realize that the Terminator had kind of permeated into the culture, and it just kept getting reflected back to me in so many ways.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator.
Arnold was always a very strong force in trying to get the sequel made.
I've said to Jim Cameron, I said, we should have an ongoing story because we're dealing here with such an interesting subject.
I knew, instinct told me that based on the strength of the first film, that there would be another one. It's just, you're never ready.
Several of the original Terminator crew returned for the sequel, including director of photography Adam Greenberg and Terminator effects creator Stan Winston.
Sequel must be true to the first film, but yet it must be more than the first film. We have to give them what they got in the first, and we have to give them something new and fresh. And I think that's what we've done in Terminator 2.
How can Arnold be starring in the sequel?
A Terminator is built in a factory, and there's one after another, and they all look like Arnold. I guess it's just because he's cute.
This Terminator, however, isn't just another pretty face.
There's more sophistication to the way it will look, and bigger, much bigger things will happen on the screen.
Action! Action, Arnold! CO2!
For 6 months, Terminator 2 combined the efforts of over 1,000 filmmakers, shooting day and night throughout the state of California to capture the many action sequences of the script. The production actually changed the course of a river to shoot high-speed chases in the extensive flood control channels of Los Angeles.
Roll, guys, roll!
The tight quarters and massive filming equipment often paralleled the action of the scenes being shot. A defunct steel mill was resurrected by the filmmakers, recreating the intense heat and light of molten steel. Ironically, actual temperatures in the mill averaged 42 degrees, making it difficult for the actors to work up a sweat. And in Northern California, a team of expert pyrotechnicians staged one of the largest police shootouts in cinematic history.
And action, Arnold! Arnold? Tell me that wasn't a rush.
Their crowning achievement, however, was blowing up a 4-story office building.
We're
we supposed to roll?
That was a rehearsal.
I was waiting for your cue, Jim.
Arnold and I working together, it's just like it was on the first picture. He's one of the most professional people I've ever worked with. He has incredible concentration. He takes physical direction like no actor I've ever worked with. And it's really a joy to work with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Really part of the shoot.
It was before my method acting seminar. Although then, in 1984, he paid a lot of attention to the acting, he pays much more attention to the acting now. The way he goes about directing actors, how much time he spends with rehearsals, how much time he spends with perfection and with moves and gestures.
I think you both go, and then freeze.
So I would say that in that area, he's much smarter and much more sophisticated. I mean, he wants to do basically everything because he has such a clear vision of what he wants to see. And see him ending up running with the smoke machine and creating smoke in front of the camera and then putting on blood and trying to do your makeup. That's why people always say that a Jim Cameron movie has a certain look, because it's a total representation of what he wants to see.
Long before the cameras roll, Cameron and crew are hard at work, designing sequences and testing ideas in a unique mix of filmmaking and science.
I do a lot of visual research, I do a lot of technical research. The more fantastic the subject, the more realistic the situation needs to be.
Using extremely detailed models, Cameron designed sequences with the aid of a thumb-sized video camera. By blocking the scene in miniature, production designer Joe Nemec can alter a location or set to meet the specific needs of the scene. Also during pre-production, an ex-Israeli commando provided the cast with military combat and weapons training. Since the character of Sarah has become an expert marksman, Linda was required to master a variety of guns and assault rifles.
It was really like entering the military and learning the mindset and coming up against myself in a big way. That was even more significant in terms of playing Sarah.
Okay, very good.
She is so set herself down a path, a concentrated path of duty, that she's lost all touch with her son.
You cannot risk yourself even for me. Do you understand? You're too important.
She's a great warrior, but for what? You know, so what? She doesn't have anything that makes it worthwhile, you know. And also, my life. It's like, oh, we don't even notice the gunshot anymore.
Why does what me?
It was a nuclear war.
Sarah has lived with the certain knowledge of the destruction of the world on a certain date for so long, and it haunts her dreams and nightmares every night, and it's driven her kind of to the point of madness, really, as it would anybody who really had to confront that knowledge.
Because I knew it happened! It happened!
We experience the end of the world through Sarah's eyes, a process that called for the strictest sense of realism. But even more powerful and haunting are Sarah's visions of the people.
And he comes down, and action, he jumps off and covers up. Oh, stop. What'd you do? See Commando 10 times?
When we had to create ashen bodies that were going to be blown away by a nuclear holocaust, it was very unsettling. And it was the one time when you got a little uncomfortable because it wasn't pleasant to look at while you were shooting it. But it is the important aspect of the film.
Judgment Day, the day Sarah was told the war would start, clearing the path for humanity's successor. The machines. Future War. For Terminator 2, Cameron mobilized an army of actors, stunt people, and special effects crews to create the final battle between humanity and the machines. This battle took place on many levels in Terminator 2, as the crew executed one successful vehicle stunt after another.
That is a cut. That is a cut.
One scene required the Terminator to climb from a speeding pickup onto a heavy tanker, a feat performed by Arnold's stunt double, Peter Kent. After a successful spin-out, the truck was rolled onto its side and dragged by a team of tractors. Peter rode the sliding tanker like a surfboard. To protect young John Connor, the human resistance has sent the Terminator itself. The role of young John Connor is newcomer Eddie Furlong.
It's almost in a way the classic story. I mean, he literally was just plucked off the streets of Pasadena and whipped into the vortex of making a movie.
And Jim said, Eddie, I was going to tell you Friday, but don't tell anybody. But we picked you for this film. And I felt like hugging Jim, but he's a guy, so I didn't hug him.
Cast with less than a month before production, Eddie began an intense period of preparation. In addition to his regular education, he received physical training, acting lessons, and motorcycle classes.
Funny thing is, I'm sure it's nothing like anything he ever expected, and it's a total left turn in his life. But on the other hand, children have this remarkable capacity to just deal with things, whatever life throws them. They don't know how the world is supposed to be yet, so they just think that's okay. You know, it can be like this if it wants to be.
One of the many tasks Stan Winston and crew undertook was enhancing the original Terminator makeup design.
Originally, there were a number of stages designed or considered as Arnold stages in makeups for this particular production. An actor must know going into a situation like this that there is physical stress with this process. Fortunately, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a pro.
3 more hours of this. I don't know how much longer I can take this.
He attacks it as a pro. He doesn't complain.
All right. But I need my foot massages, my oatmeal, my Austrian Christmas music. I need it all. Go ahead. Do it.
This pre-made-up piece here is going to be glued to Arnold's face with the help of Arnold holding it. Hold on a second. Okay, now. It's the glue we use. It makes these arms pop up and get all swollen. On days when the makeup doesn't turn out 100%, I just sneak by the camera and rub a little Vaseline on the lens, and then everything looks fine. Don't tell the DP that. He gets really upset.
This was so funny.
During the production, makeup artist Jeff Don and Steve Laporte and hairdresser Peter Tothball would transform Arnold into the flesh-covered Terminator an estimated 35 times, totaling 6 consecutive days in the makeup chair for Arnold.
Not too much, because if you put too much blood on it, it doesn't. You can't see the work that's been done. You can't see the metal and the flesh that's gone. It just looks like a big bloody mess, like you slap some hamburger on it.
That's a good example, Jeff.
Hamburger?
I'm proud of
Well,
you.
I'm hungry right now, so I use hamburger.
People accept this possibility that there can be a blend between a human component and a machine component. And I think it's just an aspect of our lives right now that we're so surrounded by machines all the time. And the fact that we can accept that, to me, is the most amazing thing of all.
What it is I'm too handsome. No camera can take all these good looks. So what they do in every movie basically is they put appliances on and terrible makeup on to kind of tone my looks down a little bit, so I match up to the rest of the actors in the movie.
So tell me, Linda, what do you think?
I'm a little too pretty, too, for this movie, so...
All right. Was my breath that bad? 2.5, 3 hours, and he's done. The next stage for the makeup is stage 5, 6, 7, and it's basically the same that Arnold had before, just more chrome, more appliances. He'll have his eye plugged up, so he won't be able to see out of it. And it'll take probably an hour, hour and a half longer to put on. He's going to love it.
As one might imagine, Sarah has trouble accepting the Terminator as an ally.
Although she doesn't know that he's going to come back, she knows that it's a possibility, so she's ready. No affection. You know, I've kept it really clean.
Do you know what you're doing?
I've detailed files on the human anatomy.
I bet. Makes you a more efficient killer, right?
Correct. Terminator in this film adopts certain human characteristics.
You gotta listen to the way people talk. And if someone comes up to you with an attitude, you say, hasta la vista, baby.
Hasta la vista, baby. That character slowly develops by the very fact of hanging around a human being.
Jesus, you were gonna kill that guy.
Of course, I'm a Terminator.
Listen to me very carefully, okay? You're not a Terminator anymore, all right?
And all that registers, and I start dealing with all those kind of emotions.
But the Terminator sent to kill young John is unlike any killing machine ever imagined.
I call him a mimetic polyalloy, meaning that he's made of a substance that can imitate anything.
Playing the T-1000 is Robert Patrick.
Jim was looking for somebody that was sort of a mixture between the Protector character, which was Michael Biehn in the first, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is the Terminator. And I think he was looking for somebody that could look like he could possibly just be a human, and yet could be a Terminator, could handle the intensity to be in a Terminator.
Well, I wanted to find someone who would be a good contrast to Arnold. If the 800 series is a kind of human Panzer tank, then the 1000 series had to be a Porsche, an advanced prototype Terminator who was more fearsome than the old model. The thing I like about Robert was he kind of looks like a cat in a way. It's almost like it's about senses with him. You know, you feel that he's very in touch with the world and analyzing it and observing it.
My character wants to completely take out John Connor. That's his mission. A relentless, tenacious killing machine, and he won't stop.
Though their missions are exact opposites, both Terminators stem from the same creator, the unseen supercomputer called Skynet.
So it's like this is the first time you've had to deal with evil, because Terminators don't fight Terminators. Right. It never happens.
We stem from the same technology, so we've got to have some like programming there. Are you the legal guardian of John Connor?
That's right, officer. What's he done now?
So we're both killing machines, we're just different types.
There was a guy here this morning looking for him, too.
Yeah, a big guy on a bike. Has that got something to do with this?
The new Terminator, really, with his new capabilities, is much more threatening.
Now I'm basically death. You know, they're running from death.
Both Terminators are programmed to complete their missions at all costs and without question. But Sarah has decided to confront her destiny and takes matters into her own hands.
I need to know how Skynet gets built. Who's responsible?
The man most directly responsible is Miles Bennett Dyson.
She decides that the only way to stop the future that she knows is going to happen is to kill the man that builds the chip that starts the war.
In a very real way, she becomes the Terminator of the second film, at least at a kind of a psychological level.
For cast and crew, Terminator 2 has been more than a reunion.
Has been very intense to work, and a lot of night shooting and a lot of long hours and so on.
Did you see that? Did you see that?
Oh, he stood to whip him away because he's embarrassed.
And I'm very honored and happy that I'm able to do the second one.
In 1984, Cameron transformed Arnold into one of the screen's most memorable villains. 7 years later, the process is reversing itself. The Terminator is becoming a protector.
Ultimately, the film is about the value of human life. No matter how inconsequential you may seem to others or even to yourself, your individual existence may have great value in the future.
Grab it, go! Go!
They have a job to do, protect her son, and they do it.
Terminator was heralded as the science fiction film of the decade. 7 years later, stars Arnold Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton and visionary director James Cameron have created one of the largest movies ever, the conclusion of the Terminator saga. For cast and crew, Terminator 2 was nothing short of destiny.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Jim actually wanted to up the scale. We made the models and the sets, the whole environment, half again as big as the first time. The HK stood about 4 feet tall. The set was about 50 feet wide, 30 feet deep, with a sort of forced perspective at the horizon.
At Fantasy 2, Peter Kleinow go-motion animated the 1/3 scale endo puppet from the first film in front of a pair of rear-projected VistaVision plates showing a smaller scale miniature landscape and explosions. 2 different versions of these puppet shots were then rear-projected side by side behind a pair of full-scale Stan Winston endo puppets, which were shot handheld with smoke and spotlights. Finally, animated lasers were optically added to complete the shot.
Arnold walks into the bar wearing the loudest pair of purple Hawaiian print board shorts that he can. And everybody in the bar is supposed to keep a straight face. But it actually worked okay because they all looked down in surprise. And what he was trying to go for was the effect that they're all reacting to his enormous crank, I guess. Trying to keep his own mythology alive. So obviously he's framed from the waist up, and so now that you've got the image of Arnold walking through the bar with these purple, Hawaiian print board shorts on, you'll never see the scene the same way. And I think he was wearing a pair of brown Basswegians as well. Stan Winston built a pop open kind of flower effect that had a mylar interior. And only when you see the wounds disappearing and healing are they CG effects. When they're appearing, they're actually a physical gag done on the set. It was basically a rubber shirt that was spring-loaded from the inside and triggered by a remote control by radio. It was actually a pretty seamless blend, I think. I mean, I certainly know where the differences are, but I think that in the flow and the cutting of the film, it's a pretty seamless blend of physical prosthetic gags with CG gags.
Jim actually came up with the idea of counterbalancing the motorcycle on cables that he could compute and take out the cables later on. So what we actually did is put a digital tension meter on the crane cable, and we would let off cable as the bike came out, and we'd bleed off to maybe a 200-pound drop versus a 900-pound drop, which you'd normally have. So that way we were able to do the stunt over and over.
Beside you. Boom. Good. Familiar?
Yeah. My face didn't age at all.
Not at all, Arnold.
Too much emotion. Yeah, exactly. What's going on here?
Must have been a really,
yeah, exactly.
early part of the shoot.
It was before my method acting seminar.
Rear projection is a very old-fashioned technique, and a lot of people don't use it anymore, but we used it on Terminator 2, and it gives you a great deal of control and safety with the actors. And you can do some pretty outrageous stuff that you couldn't really do. I mean, you couldn't put an actor up on top of a moving car on a soundstage. In a night scene especially, where you can get away with more visually with rear projection, it just gives you a lot more control. So I would definitely prefer rear projection versus, say, blue screen composite, because I can manipulate the elements, through the lens.
The live stunt was shot with 7 cameras at the Fremont location. The main camera was locked off to get separate plates of the bike jump and the helicopter flyby. These 2 elements were optically composited together by Pacific Tidal, who also optically removed the stunt cable to complete the shot.
It was a quarter-scale miniature, which made it 18 feet long. The set was 70 feet long. The asphalt area into the miniature factory buildings was 20 feet wide. The whole reason why you do some of these things miniatures, when it's smaller, you're controlling it, it isn't destroyed. When you roll it over, you patch it up a little bit and you do it again. And you know that you're going to do it over and over until you get it.
We actually put the casters on and built the truck, and where we had to tie actually the trailer to the tractor so you don't get a lot of swing. And the effects crew basically builds anything that you need specialized for a car, for a wreck, because stunts and effects work hand in hand.
These full-sized replicas of the real steel pores were hollow and filled with lights behind a plexiglass surface. Even the cast resin pour stream had lights behind it. Methasil was pumped to pour down the stream like a waterfall to create movement. Hidden effects guys would use arc welders to generate sparks above and below the dish. Embers were liberally strewn around the floor. Then smoke was pumped in to complete the effect. A second version had a backlit spill down the front of the dish, and a backlit plexiglass floor with progressive cutouts defining the shape of the spill. Add ember to the edges, and voila!
He went through tons of different things trying to find something that wouldn't settle out. The one that seemed to work out the best was a thin layer of oil and powdered sugar, as thin as we could possibly get it, over about 3.5 feet of water in the deepest part.
So what makes it white?
It's the emulsion of the water and the sugar and the air. It's just getting all coagulated.
The clear water gave it a base to rest on, allowed a clear medium for the light to pass through, and it ended up diffusing the light well, and it was non-toxic, which was important too because of having our actors in there.
Some of the people from the mill that have come up from a distance, they thought the ladle was real, they thought it was one of ours. This is as realistic as you can get and not actually have hot metal. It looks very real.
We call this Cleve Man. It's Robert Patrick, it's there, it's not a computerized effect.
It's going to be fun.
Half of him is a robotic effect that he had to wear. So we situated it in such a way that you could only see part of his body, built another part of his body onto him, and then had that part of his body able to plop out and start its way back up.
The arms that the cables are attached to are actually spring-loaded. So when these cables are yanked out quickly, they release the springs, which flop the sides of the flower open.
Firing the mechanism.
And up a little, boom. Oh, that actually works. I'm going to build one so you can flex it. He's got one less coat.
We call this Pretzel Man because when he was designed, he looked like a pretzel. He started off in a position that is semi there, that couldn't possibly be a guy in a makeup or a guy in a suit, and then he is literally splatted apart and he's all over the place.
It felt great. There was plenty of clearance. We had about 3.5 feet on each blade tip, and everything just worked out just the way it was supposed to. Just the way we talked about it, rehearsed it, and there's no problems at all. It was a lot of fun.
The premiere took place on July the 1st, 1991 at the Cineplex Odeon in Century City, Los Angeles. According to Vidal, it was treated as a major event, unlike the premiere of the Terminator, during which the audience was skeptical or laughed at the wrong times. Celebrities in attendance included Maria Shriver, Nicolas Cage, Sylvester Stallone, Sharon Stone, Michael Douglas, and Furlong's date, Soleil Moon Frye.
Could there be a Governor Schwarzenegger in California's future? Variety has speculated Arnold would run for the governorship in 1994. No chance, says Mr. Schwarzenegger. In an interview taped for broadcast next Monday on CBS, Arnold says he has no political ambitions beyond his support for President George Bush's physical fitness program. But last night, Hollywood's A-list celebrities packed a local theater for their first look, and this normally blasé crowd was ready for a thrill. It was Judgment Day for Terminator 2 as a star-studded audience lined up for their chance to see Arnold Schwarzenegger try and top the success of the first Terminator film.
We took a shot at it, and we are very delighted that everyone, if it is the critics or the people that have seen it, think it is better than the first one. So that's what we want to do, is entertain people all over the world.
This time out, space-age cyborg Arnold travels back in time to protect Linda Hamilton's young son, the future leader of the human race. from an evil Terminator, played by Robert Patrick. And how did Arnold's co-stars feel about working with the larger-than-life Schwarzenegger?
That's fun to watch, but I'm in shape too.
It's a little intimidating, but I got pretty pumped up for him, and he was very given to me, and just a great guy. He was very sweet and helped me a lot. He helped me quite a bit.
All right, my man.
No problemo.
And the celebrity moviegoers were unanimous in their judgment.
I need 10 new fingernails. That was great, seriously.
I'm blown away. I'm like in a state of shock. It's like fantasy come true.
Everybody's great. It's beautiful. It's an incredible experience. I loved it.
The effects are incredible. Good enough to make actors nervous.
I mean, there was truly amazing stuff I've never seen before in my life.
It's an unrelenting ride, and Arnold's my hero.
But the man of the hour already had his sights set on his next goal, one with a much more human angle.
It took place at what looks like the new multiplex in the Arndale Centre. A star-studded occasion. There were even a few faces there you might recognise. Not that anybody's worried. The film's now taken $160 million from the paying public.
From the Terminator to Beauty and the Beast, our next guest has starred opposite some of the world's scariest leading men. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, one of the stars of Terminator 2, Linda Hamilton. Oh, Linda. Welcome to the show. You know, it's very nice of you to be here, and great to meet you. I didn't realize you were the Beauty and the Beast woman.
Yeah, just the beauty. The old beauty, I call myself.
How long was that show on the air?
2.5 years.
Now, did you get that program? You know what? You know what I'm saying? Because some people, like myself, I only saw it a couple of times, and I just had the vague impression that it was a lovely woman in New York who had some kind of friendship with like some kind of big monkey that lived in the park or something.
I've worked with a lot of big monkeys.
Yeah.
You know,
But now, for everyone like me, there were millions and millions of people who just loved this, who just couldn't get enough of this.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, but
I still don't get it. I
Well,
mean,
now,
they
okay,
love
this is it here, and I had no idea that this was you. Now, this was Ron Perlman, right?
Right.
Yeah. Now, it outlined the story for me again on this.
Oh, God, it's such an old story. She falls in love with him when she can't see him. Obviously, she's injured and bandaged up.
Oh, she's injured. See, now I didn't realize that she was injured.
That's how it begins. So she can't see him, so she falls in love with the being.
Oh, he saves her life.
He saves her life, rescues her, bandages her, which is very important.
Right. And is
they
he
have a very empathic relationship. Whenever she's in trouble, he comes and helps her.
Right. Now, and could he fly? I'm just being dopey.
Hey, that's all right. I expect it.
But you got what? People used to send you odd little items, little.
Yeah, they still do.
What kind of stuff do you get?
It's a very lyrical show, so a lot of people that are very moved by it and sort of in love with the romance of it still send gifts. You know, I have about 199 renditions of that picture by every artist. You know, imaginable.
People draw them, people paint them.
Yeah, draw them, paint them, reverse glass, stitch them, whatever. I could paper a room with all the different renditions I have of that photo.
But you know, it's interesting because television, it just comes and goes. I mean, once it's over, it just heads to the ionosphere.
Yeah, but not this.
Yeah, but it's interesting that something like this would have kind of a meaning to people. Yeah,
it took hold.
Now, let's talk about working with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. How was that?
Fun, both times.
Lots of fun. Yeah, and he's. Do you have to get in shape to work with this guy? Do you work out with him?
I did. No, I used his gym a lot, but I just sort of I worked out on my own before this.
Right. What do you do in his gym?
Big surprise, show my body. Everything. Lift a lot of free weights, presses, you know, shoulder work, legs. You know, kill myself every day. That's what you have to do.
Now, do you have to do this, or is this something you're trying to do to?
It was very much a part of the character. She's turned into a warrior since the last show, and I just had to get out there and do it.
Yeah.
You want to see?
Yeah. Wow. Very nice. And could I show you a little something? This is with steroids. Now you know we were gonna have triplets. We have triplets. We were gonna have triplets.
You got them.
We're gonna have them. We got them. No, they're not here. And we turns out you're one of a set of twins.
Yeah.
You have twin.
I have an identical twin sister.
Yeah. And do you have a lot of twin stories growing up? Tricks you would play? That kind of stuff?
We did all the stuff that twins can do. Traded boyfriends. You know, people would tell us apart by our jewelry. We would trade it in the bathroom and go back to different dates.
Yeah.
We would trade classes every once in a while. She tricked me into taking a math test for her once, and they were a chapter ahead of us, so I failed it. And that was, I got my revenge.
But this is the kind of thing you hear all the time, and it's pretty innocent, harmless stuff, which I guess is as it should be. Is she an actress as well?
No,
What's your
she's
sister's
a nurse.
name?
She lives in New Jersey, Leslie Guerin.
A nurse in New Jersey. Well, good for her.
Mother of 3.
Has she ever met your big-time showbiz pals?
Yeah, she came out actually in this movie. There's a part, it's so extraordinary actually. There's a part where there are 2 Sarah Connors. So I suggested to them that they use my sister instead of doing the process work.
Yeah, yeah.
So she came out at Christmas time. A good story there. Arnold, I don't think had any idea that I had a twin sister. So she arrives. Is waiting out in the parking lot. I must have been on set. She's waiting outside of my trailer and is putting her suitcase down, and Arnold comes out of his room and spots her from behind, goes for the sneak attack, and he comes up behind her and very sort of suggestively and repetitively hugged her from behind, if you understand what I mean. She turns around very sweetly and says, "Hi, I don't think you have any idea that I'm Linda Hamilton's twin sister, Leslie." And he didn't get it. He still didn't believe it. So he just goes, "Oh, well, it doesn't really matter." And he keeps going. He says, did you leave equipment in my gym? And she says, "No, everything I have is in this suitcase." He says, "Well, where are you going?" She said, "I just told you I came in from New Jersey." And he starts to put it together. He's seeing that something is wrong with his picture.
Yeah.
And everyone that witnessed it said that it was pretty wonderful.
I'd like to explore, if I could, if we had the time, more deeply this repetitive hugging you refer to.
Arnold's going to be on tomorrow night. You talk to him about
We'll
it.
ask Arnold about the old, some Austrian technique. When you're out on ski patrol, the old repetitive hugging. Let's see. Now this thing, it's out now, and it's like a huge hit again, isn't it?
No, it's not out
When is
yet.
it coming out?
July 3rd. It's a huge hit.
I think I must have been thinking of City Slickers. July 3rd opens all across the country. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much for being here. Have a great summer. Linda Hamilton. We'll be right back.
We always have a responsibility to do the best job possible. And I think that we were very successful in doing that with this movie. I think that Jim Cameron wrote the best screenplay. I think that the movie turned out to be, like people have said already, much better even than the first one, if that's even possible. But he made it possible because he really went all out. And with the special effects, he went all out with the actors, with the directing, and with all those things. So I think people are going to be really surprised at this one. And like we've already read some of the reviews, so that this is the true hit of the summer. I believe 100% that in order to entertain people successfully, not only in this country, but all over the world, you have to provide them with all those different elements. You know, you have to go all out with the action, you have to go all out with the magic and the special effects, you have to go all out with the acting, and also you have to go all out with the comedy. You have to provide comic relief, you know, so you have this tension, and you have this madness going on the screen, but then you counterbalance it with some comic relief and with some jokes. And it really works now. When you see the movie, the people just laugh their head off with the stuff that they hear and they see in there. And then I think that makes it then a good summer movie, when you have the combination. Actor, I'm looking forward to doing different types of films. That's why you've seen in the past me going from a Predator to a Twins, which is a comedy, then back to a hard movie, which is a Total Recall, then back again to a comedy like Kindergarten Cop, then back again to Terminator, which is a harder movie, although with comedy, and where Terminator turns to kind of a kinder and gentler Terminator. All of those things, we always try to do different things all the time. Hasta la vista, baby.
Thank you. I just want to do a quick commercial.
My name is Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm Maria Shriver's husband. And my wife, Maria Shriver, has a show on Saturday at 10 o'clock. This Saturday called First Choice. Watch it, or I'll be back.
Hey!
Maria got that one out of the way. Okay.
I mean, this is just the best story ever. You and Maria Shriver, that's like a dream right there. You know, that's a great couple. You have a happy marriage. You have a little baby and another one. You're going to have another one soon, right?
Yes, end of July, beginning of August. Yep. We're expecting the second baby. But it has been a lot of fun. I tell you, I've never thought that this is going to be so much fun having a child and watching it grow up and watching it make its first steps and running and saying daddy and all those things. That's great. Oh, and there's some downsides too when you have to change the diapers or get up, and you close your nose and you change things, and all those things. So.
But that's great, isn't it?
It's fantastic.
It's wonderful. Now let's talk about this film, this Terminator Part 2, the Judgment Day.
Judgment Day, yes.
Now, I know you don't, this is a very expensive movie, but people who have seen it say it's worth every penny. This is going to be like a huge, huge movie, isn't it?
Well, it's a monster. It's absolutely huge, and it is huge because the director, Jim Cameron, did again such a great job writing the script and directing such a wonderful film. So I have to give him really all the credit because he's also responsible for making Terminator somewhat of a kinder and gentler Terminator in this movie. So that is also
all right. Now let's recap a little bit. The first Terminator was what is the term? It's not a robot. Is it a cyborg?
A cyborg, yes, a machine.
A machine. That's right, and a killing machine.
A killing machine.
That's right, with state-of-the-art laser and computer equipment.
The whole thing. I mean, it's indestructible. No emotions.
Factory air.
No feelings.
The whole deal.
The whole deal. It can just eliminate anything that is in front of him. And I think that this is why the film became such a success, because I think everyone has that dream to just be, maybe for one day, a Terminator.
Yeah.
And to just be able to, I think that's why it became so successful, because everyone wants to just be a Terminator one day and take care of the job. Yeah. To pay back whoever did them harm, or just to settle the score, or to just go out and take care of the job and all those things. I think that's what really is the fantasy in everyone. And the second one, they get, of course, much more, because there's some human elements.
Now, in this one, you're a good Terminator. Right.
Well, it depends how you look at it, I mean, from what side. I mean, it still comes in as this fierce machine that is ready to destruct anything, and to destroy anything. And then, as time goes on, there are other dimensions. He becomes humanized towards the end, and all of a sudden understands human feelings and emotions and all those things.
Starts doing volunteer work.
That's right. For Special Olympics.
What do you want to? Can we look at a clip of this now? Do we have time to do this? Do you mind if we show the clip of this thing? I'm very excited about it. I've seen the clips of this movie, and we were talking about it this afternoon. So often you see a clip of a film on a television show, and you think, oh, that's nice. But this one, when you see it, you think, I got to go see this movie.
It's fantastic, and the reviews so far have been outstanding. So I think this is going to be the big movie of the summer.
That's right. Here we go now. Do we need to explain to people what we're going to see here?
No.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, ladies and gentlemen, The Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Oh, look, you're famous.
That's not Hercules. And who is that monster who looks as if he has come straight from the kingdom of the underworld?
Oh, no, this is a motion picture, a play. Really, you mustn't take yourself so seriously.
It doesn't even look like me. Look.
What are you doing? Oh, wow.
Oh, I cannot believe it. Oh, God. I have to tell you, every single time I come to this show, there's some surprise. I say to myself, what could it be today? There he has it. A movie that I tried to hide for centuries.
The special effects in that film are just unbelievable.
I'm telling you, it was
with
very
that special
expensive.
sweater you had there.
Exactly right. Yes, Hercules in New York.
What exactly was that? That was
my first film I've ever done. I just got off the boat, basically. I couldn't even speak English.
they dubbed my voice. I didn't even know what I was saying. And it was wild, but it was one of those dream stories, you know, where you say to yourself, is it true there's such a thing? You come to America, and then someone comes up to you and says, do you want to star in a movie? Yeah. That's what this was. Yeah. So I was ecstatic, although I made $3 on this movie. So I mean,
now when we see you there, you're much, you've got more bulk to you than you do now. How much? What did you weigh then when you shot?
I weighed around 250 pounds, and I was working out then like 4 or 5 hours a day. Now I do an hour a day, so it's a different...
Oh, here it is. Yeah, there's some more of that special effects there. Yow! If you bad guys don't get out of here, I'm taking off my sweater.
That's it.
Run. And what do you weigh now?
215.
215, so that's like 30 pounds less.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Arnold, we have a little correction. The name of your wife's show that you plug so enthusiastically is First Person, not First Choice.
First Person.
First Person, yeah.
You don't understand. Yeah? You don't understand. There's a reason why I said First Choice, because when he flips through the channels, your first choice should be to watch First Person.
First Person, all right. You explain that at dinner. We're going to do a commercial. We'll be right back here with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger is here, damn Yankees, and from Murphy Brown, Robert Pastorelli. Do you know Mr. Pastorelli?
No.
Very, very fine actor, very funny man.
I've seen him in movies.
Yeah, and also, he was in Dances with Wolves.
That's right, yes.
Let's take a look at now the real Terminator 2.
That's about time. That's about time.
And do you need to tell people what we're going to look at here? This is pretty much the essence of what you described earlier.
No, again, like in the first clip we saw, it doesn't need any introduction.
Okay. All right, here we go. This should be Mr. Schwarzenegger's new movie. Watch closely. See, now that's what I'm talking about. That makes you want to go out and see that movie.
Yes. Well, first of all, I hate when people put out their cigars on my chest.
It's rude.
Although I don't feel it, but I mean, you know, it needs a little arm twist after that.
It's bad manners. Yes. Now, just for a second here, hypothetically speaking, the Terminator is in a bar there. Now, what would happen if the Terminator had a beer?
I have no idea.
Would that make him...
He doesn't need a beer. He doesn't need food. He's a machine. And but basically, this is one of the beginning scenes of the film where I arrive again, as you could see, naked. In this time period, and I go and I need clothes like in the first movies. I go to this bar, and I thought that this clothes that these guys are wearing is cool, and this guy was the right size, so I just asked him very simply for his clothes. Well, of course, he resisted in the beginning, but then, as you will see when you see the movie, which I hope you will see 3 times. Anyway,
let's not get greedy, Arnold. For heaven's sake.
It sounds greedy. Otherwise,
twice.
I would say 10 times. But I mean, I say keep it 3 times. But anyway, then afterwards, he gives me the clothes voluntarily, and he's very happy to give it to me. You know.
How are things with the Bushes? Your friends Barbara and George.
Well, I'm not going to hang around for a while with them. I tell you that. No, I'm serious, because I was up in I think it was January. I was invited up to Camp David. And we had a good time up there, going sled riding, and Barbara broke her leg.
That's
and
right.
She was hospitalized.
Yeah, she ran into a tree.
Yeah, we were sledding together down the hill.
Now, who pushed her, Arnold?
No. And anyway, I was there. She was hospitalized. On May 1st, I go back for the Great American Workout to the White House. I exercised with the president and with the 800 children that were there on the South Lawn. The next day, he gets hospitalized.
That's right.
So I said to myself, this is it. I better stay away
lay out for a while. Yeah.
Because we want to keep him there in the White House, not in the hospital.
Yeah. So. But that must be very exciting for you to have a relationship with those people, huh?
Well, it is great. First of all, because he's a wonderful human being. He's a great president. And he really is helpful for my mission also, which is to make America fit. And to make our youth fit in this country. And he is such a believer in fitness, such a believer in sport, and also for our youth. You know, he really is concerned, and so he's helping every step of the way. And I really love that about this guy, that he's really concerned. He's a really good man.
Whenever you're there at the White House, for the fun of it, do you sneak up behind Quayle and scare the hell out of him? One of those.
I very rarely see the vice president because he's not there at the White House. But I mean, I do go often there and take care of my business with the fitness-related things, and also Capitol Hill. And I know it's a joke, but I mean, he's a great guy. Yeah. I mean, you know, the Quail is a good man, so we have to give him a break.
All right. Let's see. The film opens July 3rd, and boy, when this thing hits the screens, look out. Going to be a big one, huh?
I think it's going to be the biggest movie of the summer.
Right.
There's no two ways about it. The only thing that I was concerned with somewhat was how would the press react, the critics and so on. And so far, all the critics that I've read was just really favorable and just outstanding. And everyone just basically says it will be the big movie of the summer. So I'm very ecstatic because it was a great, classy movie with a good story.
Good.
A good story.
Good for you.
Linda Hamilton you had yesterday on the show. She was a wonderful, wonderful actress. Did you see the shape she was in?
Yeah, lovely.
And I mean, I wish I could take credit for that, but I can't because, I mean, she really whipped herself in shape. She was training for months for this and was ripped.
She looks great. And then she told some story about you sneaking up on her sister and causing trouble there.
That is the Austrian hug. Where we sneak up from behind.
Her twin sister had her back turned. Yeah, you didn't know.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, but I know what you actually did.
No, they look exactly alike.
But it wasn't one of these, excuse me, miss. It wasn't one of those.
We go all out. You know, I mean, when...
this is going to be some dinner tonight.
Exactly. It was terrific.
What do we do?
I don't mind sleeping in a garage.
We do what now? We have to... Okay, hang on. We have to do a commercial. Then we'll be right back here. All right. Damn Yankees will be out here a little bit later. Tomorrow on the program, Michael Palin. You like Michael Palin?
Yes. He's under control.
From the Reggae Sunsplash Tour, we have Maxie Priest, Dennis Brown, Shinehead, and Little Lenny. That'll be tomorrow. And barbecue. Oh, wow. Come back tomorrow night. We got barbecue for everybody in the audience.
All right.
Everybody in the audience tomorrow gets barbecued. What is it? Morty chicken? Oh, screw you. Is it chicken? Is it ribs? Is it, huh? You think it's ribs. All right.
I asked the chairman of the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports have to make a suggestion that you have maybe fish or chicken because it's maybe healthier for you.
Right.
Because I want to make sure that this country is fit and is getting in shape so we can make the 90s the fitness decade.
I'm with that. But
okay.
But, you know, there was that report from some medical group the other day that said even if you avoid fatty meats, that you're only extending your life like 3 months, 4 months anyway.
Yeah, this is one out of 1,000 studies. We know as a fact
what do you
that
eat?
if you are in shape and if you eat less fatty foods and if you exercise daily, that you will live longer and also the life that you live, you will enjoy more.
I believe that. Sure. It doesn't make any difference how long your life is as long as you're enjoying it while you're here.
But I mean, you only can do that fully.
Yeah.
If you feel athletic, if you're slim and you feel in shape, because what impact it has on our mind, because, you know, you just feel good about yourself. And I think feeling good really helps kids also to stay away from drugs, alcohol abuse, and tobacco use and all those things. So I think that's what we have to preach all the time.
Do you think kids today, like grade school kids, second, third, fourth graders, are they in better shape than 20 years ago, 25 years ago?
Well, I tell you what we have seen on the statistics, they are in worse shape today.
Oh, is that right? They're in worse shape?
In worse shape today. But not because of the kids, because the American kids could be in great shape. And you can see also with athletes, the American athletes are the best in the world. But they don't have the opportunities always. Because the schools always talk about budget problems. They lay off physical education teachers and specialists. And the kids are suffering because they close the gymnasium doors and they don't give them the opportunity to exercise every day. And this is why I'm going around the country right now to just pump them up and get them going again and make sure the kids exercise every day. The parents understand that they have to participate and make the kids exercise, like in the old days where the families played games together and did sports together.
What games did the families used to play together?
Well, you know, basketball and baseball and football and all those kind of things.
Yep.
Things that are fun to do and things that keep you fit and where the family can do things together. But the day everyone walks into this living room, turns on the tube and starts watching television, and this is okay, but I mean, you shouldn't waste your whole life away in front of the television set or in front of a video game. You should just exercise at the same time. You should at least a half an hour a day go out and exercise.
When I was a kid, and this is true, every Sunday afternoon at my house, my family, my mom, my dad, my two sisters, every Sunday, rain or shine, out in the backyard, 20 rounds, bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah, now I know where your nose came from.
Yeah, that's true, that's right.
Well, Arnold, it's very nice to be here in Hollywood talking with you about Terminator 2 for Cinema Showcase. And you said something right before the camera started to roll. I was kidding you about the bike here. And you said, well, that's the Terminator's bike, and I'd like to have it. And I said, well, you got the airplane. Don't be greedy. Now you're telling me you didn't get the airplane.
I don't negotiate my film deals with airplanes. I mean, this is two different things. If I need an airplane, I buy it myself. If I do a film, it's just a simple thing. You get a salary and you get the percentage of the deal, and that's that. I mean, well, I don't know where the plane should come in.
Well, how did that start, I wonder?
It could easily be that it started because Coralco helped me with getting the plane, because they have had planes before, and their lawyers and the people that are in charge of that helped me find the right plane because they're experts in it. So it could have started from that. But, you know, it would be great if you do a film and you get a plane and your salary. I mean, next time I get the salary in the house, next time I get a salary in the a vacation home somewhere, that would be terrific, but that's not the reality. That's only what you read in the press. It's all magic, but it's not true.
Well, I'm glad we have that cleared up. Now we can talk about Terminator 2. When you first read the script, Arnold, and you saw all this fantastic stuff that James Cameron wrote in there, did you ever stop to think, how are they going to do that?
Actually, when I read the first time the script, I couldn't quite visualize everything, because the way it was written, it was so complicated, everything. It was like a book about science and about things that one has never seen or done before. So I didn't even know what he was talking about, the liquid metal and all this stuff, and going through bars and molding into the floor, and then coming out of the tiles again, out of the floor, and becoming a person, or anything that this T-1000 kills, he becomes that person that he kills. And on, I mean, there were so many things in there that I didn't quite understand how he's going to do that and what he means. So I had, luckily, when I read the script, we went away to Cannes last May, and Jim Cameron was sitting right next to me. So I could always ask him, I said, well, Jim, I said, please, do me a favor, explain this scene here. Because I didn't get it right away. And it was very complex the way he wrote it, but that's the way his mind works. And then finally, as we did the film, I could really understand why he has written it a certain way and how much it really adds to the story, because it's absolutely tremendous, his ideas. It's just very genius-like. And, you know, those people that enjoyed the first Terminator are definitely going to enjoy this one 3 times as much.
I must say I agree, really. I might have been a little bit skeptical about this one, but made a believer out of me, I'll tell you for sure.
I was a skeptical too, because it's very hard, to be honest with you. Everyone had the same concern, that how are you going to take a movie that was so successful and that people liked so much, not only in a film, but on video and on cable and the network or wherever it played around the world. How are you going to make a film now that will please that audience? Maybe the expectations are going to be too high. And then when we finished the film and we tested it, you know, that was one of the first things they wrote down. I enjoyed it more than the first one. And that is the greatest compliment you can have, and makes Jim Cameron and myself and Linda Hamilton, all of us, feel very, very comfortable now.
Arnold, who taught you to twirl the gun? Is that a shotgun? I'm sorry.
It's a shotgun, but it is handled like a Winchester, basically, with the same cocking system. And what we try to figure out is I just learned it. You know, it's just because I knew that I had to drive the motorcycle with one hand. Usually on the street, you could drive the motorcycle without holding the handlebar, because the Harley Davidson is actually a very steady bike. But in the dirt, where I usually rode, I wouldn't rely on that. So what I did was, I have the accelerator on the right hand. On the left hand, I learned how to cock the gun without really touching it with the other hand. And eventually, after ripping skin off my finger and hitting myself on the forehead 20 times with the gun and injuring my wrist several times. I learned it. Finally, I got it, and I put gloves on eventually because I had so many injuries on my fingers. But I finally got it, and we did it, and then I rode the bike and learned it with the bike, and it came out great, I thought.
Is the machine gun a special kind of machine gun?
No, it's just a machine gun that usually is mounted on helicopters, and it's usually used as a steady machine gun. And in order to show the strength of the character, we deal with it like a human being taking a regular shotgun and just shooting with that. That's really the idea to show. We try always to show Terminator, by whatever he does, indirectly that he's a machine. Although, as you know, the behavior becomes more and more human towards the end, but we always want to show there is a metal skeleton in there, and it is quite strong. And so when he wants to go through a wall to save Linda Hamilton, the Sarah Connor character, he goes right through it, pours out into safety.
Okay. Well, Arnold, again, thank you for visiting with us here on Cinema Showcase, and I think Terminator 2 just has to be a whopping success for you people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arnold.
Thank you.
On our Inside Story Monday, he's back, badder than ever, but he's playing a good guy, Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2.
Every time we shot any of those big scenes, gigantic scenes, it was a highlight for me.
Get ready for another blockbuster from Arnold. Our Inside Story Monday on Entertainment Tonight. Robin Hood's $13 million to take top spot in estimated weekend ticket sales. City Slickers was third, just ahead of The Rocketeer, and Dying Young was fifth. Well, this Wednesday, another summer blockbuster, perhaps the biggest of them all, joins the fray. Here comes Arnold Schwarzenegger and Terminator 2.
Stay here. I'll be back.
And back he is, shooting, cycling, clubbing, and creating mayhem whenever things aren't going his way. But this time, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator is a good guy, a good robot sent from the future to protect the son of the woman his predecessor tried to kill in the first film.
Come with me if you want to live. To me, it is a great, entertaining movie, and it's a movie that has everything that you need. It has a tremendous amount of action, adventure, excitement, drama, suspense. Trust me.
The big plot twist in Terminator 2 is the pursuit of Arnold, the mother, again played by Beauty and the Beast Linda Hamilton, and the son by another seemingly unstoppable, more advanced Terminator. This state-of-the-art special effects monster can change itself into anything it wants to or needs to, and its mission is to terminate 10-year-old John Connor before he can lead human revolutionaries against machines 35 years in the future.
Who sent you?
You did.
This is deep.
Schwarzenegger says the opportunity to play a good Terminator provided a nice surprise.
I love the idea of showing a different Terminator, a Terminator that had additional dimensions to it than the first one. Because the first one I played very straightforward and like a machine. Mm-hmm. But this time, the Terminator is enough time with human beings that he adds a lot of human characteristics that are quite appealing in a movie.
The relationship between Arnold and the 10-year-old boy, played by newcomer Edward Furlong, who was literally plucked from a Pasadena playground for this part, is the key to the humanity in the film.
All right.
But those Terminator fans who are looking for excitement as well as drama will not be disappointed.
Stay down!
Just like T1, there's action, action, and more action. A spectacular motorcycle chase that features a gigantic tow truck. There's a high-speed chase with Arnold boarding and then riding an overturned tanker truck. There is the destruction of a real 4-story office building. T2's special effects and spectacular and realistic staging and stunts reportedly cost as much as $100 million to bring to the screen. There's been so much speculation about the budget of this thing. Is it the most expensive movie ever made?
This is not my concern, what the budget is. My concern is more, does the audience that pays $7 for a ticket, in this case that I have to say that they get $30 worth for $7 that they pay.
And those Arnold and Terminator fans who remember vintage one-liners from the first one won't be disappointed by the dialogue in Terminator 2.
Well, Jim, I have lost count, but I know we have met several times before, and it's a pleasure to be talking with you again, especially for Terminator 2.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. We have been anticipating this for such a long time. Now, I'm looking at this figure behind you. and where does this, was this actually used in the film?
This appears in an early scene in the film where we see the kind of the future war that's going on, you know, up in the year 2029, and that these characters are coming back through time to our, you know, to our time to try to change history. This is what is supposedly inside the Terminator, inside Arnold Schwarzenegger's character. In fact, this is actually inside Arnold. You know, if you always wonder why you see Arnold always, he never seems to rest, you know, he's always going strong. That's why, because he's really a cyborg.
Did you have more than one of these figures?
I think we had 4, yeah.
There's been so much talk, Jim, about the cost of this film. Do you have any idea what just one of those figures would cost?
I think they're about $15.
Oh, come on now.
I don't really know, frankly, because Stan Winston, who did a lot of the makeup and the effects of these Terminator figures, did a kind of a package deal, and so this would have been kind of just all part of that cost. You know, the special effects were expensive on the film. They were also all done on budget. It was all approved money before we started. But you know, we are offering the public, the viewing public, a lot of stuff they've never seen before, a lot of stuff they didn't even know was possible in this film, and that's kind of exciting.
The figure we read goes all the way from 88 million to over 100 million. Which is it?
Yeah, I'm not going to say. I think people should go and see if they think it's worth $7.
Well, I'll tell you honestly, Jim, when I saw beforehand, I thought, nah, no picture could be worth 100 million.
You're right.
And or maybe even 88, but when you see the effects, you're so blown away by, as you say, things we've never seen before.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of our goal, but also our goal is to tell a good story and to excite people and to do more than just kind of you know, knock their eyes out. And hopefully the emotional part of it will work for them as well.
When you are writing a script and you're dreaming up action sequences and visual effects and so forth, do you always know in your mind how it's going to be executed?
I usually have an idea of how it can be done. I may be right or I may be wrong, but I try not to limit myself. I try to just come up with something as wild as I can think of it, and then later we'll figure out exactly how to do it. Because I know the best people. I try to work with the best people. Industrial Light and Magic, Stan Winston, some of the other people, you know, Bob and Denny Skotak, the people that have worked with me over the years. We now have a shorthand, you know, common language. We know how to make it look good.
Do you ever dream one up that nobody can execute?
Hasn't happened yet. I came pretty close a couple times on this film. On the Abyss, on the last film, you know, we came up with that kind of water snake effect, and they didn't really know how to do that, but they created some new things. And the same thing happened on this film. They've created a lot of new computer software and a lot of new techniques.
Of all the action scenes and or the special effects, Jim, in this picture, Terminator 2, which one pleases you and which are you most proud of?
I don't know. I don't really have a favorite. For me, the film works best when all the elements work. You know, when you laugh, when you cry, when you get that kind of adrenaline rush, when an action sequence is going and it makes you want to cheer. You know, I don't really have a favorite shot or anything like that.
Some of the scenes are just so overwhelming that we all sat there going, wow.
Good.
How did they do that?
That's why we work these long hours, to try and get that effect.
But for instance, just let me ask you this. The helicopter and the motorcycle crash, all right. For real or miniatures, a combination what?
It was a combination of full-size stunts and special effects. We had a full-size, we had a stuntman come out the window of the building. The helicopter was not really there. The helicopter was put in optically. Then a separate shot of a dummy on a motorcycle hitting the helicopter. Things like that. Oh, I shouldn't tell you how these things are done.
The 18-wheeler that goes off the overpass to the canal, but
real.
Same thing?
Totally
no,
real. Totally real. what you see is what you get. We just fired that sucker off there at 50 miles an hour.
How many 18-wheelers did you trash?
Well, we had 3 and we destroyed all of them, but we only did that stunt once.
Okay.
But when you see the sequence, I mean, you can see there's a lot of impacts between the truck and the walls and things like that.
Well, I hate the word awesome. I don't know, it's so overused, but I'm using it.
Oh, that's okay. You can use it.
But for this film,
kidding.
I am saying Terminator 2 is awesome.
Wow, thanks.
And I hope it does great for you, and I'm sure it will.
We got our fingers crossed.
Okay, Jim, thanks so much for talking with us today on Cinema Showcase.
My pleasure.
Terminator, one of the most successful and one of the most compelling science fiction horror movies of all time. And you know what? Good news. They've made a Terminator Part 2. It's called The Judgment Day, and it's about to be released this summer. Right now, this is probably the high point of my whole career, because I have a rendezvous on the terrace of the Hotel du Cap with the star of the movie himself. He needs no introduction, Mr. Schwarzenegger.
It was the audience all over the world that demanded a Terminator 2. It was their idea. It was like them writing, thousands of letters. It was them continuously asking me wherever I went on any promotional tour for any other movie. They said, but we like your movies, but when are you going to do another Terminator? So I said to myself, and Jim Cameron, the director, said to himself, I guess we should do one. I mean, and so that's where that came from. It was a demand by the public, demand by the moviegoers to do a second Terminator. I enjoy playing the Terminator. I enjoyed it in the first movie. There's something really interesting about it, to play a villain and to be bad, because people enjoy that and they think that's good, and so here you play a character that is bad and good, a guy that is hot but also cool. You have all this guy that creates kind of great emotions and also at the same time great brutality. You have a lot of balances there, and then in the second movie, in Terminator 2, I, within the same character, have those balances. It's not just the story, but even the same character. It's a character that is machine, but he is adopting human behavior.
Well, she's lived a pretty hard life. She's sort of a shell of what she was before in terms of her humanity. It's very much gone. She's been living with the specter of nuclear war and the knowledge, the date of when it's going to happen. And she's pretty broken and crazy and dark. And she's turned into a warrior. She's been getting herself ready. She knows that this thing might come back.
Please, everything you say is gone! Because I knew it happened! It happened!
Then hell breaks loose. And all I can say to you is when I say hell breaks loose, hell does break loose in this movie.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day was released to general acclaim. Many reviews focus on the state-of-the-art physical, special and makeup effects, which were roundedly praised as revolutionary and spectacular, particularly those calling the T-1000 a technological wonder. Several publications wrote that Cameron's ability to realize cinematic action blockbusters was unmatched. Reviewers generally agreed that the narrative early in the film is stronger than the one near the end.
T2, you won't believe your eyes. T2 is spectacular, a solid thriller. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, a James Cameron film. T2, rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
Brace yourself. The summer movie has arrived.
Trust me.
An incredible trip. Arnold Schwarzenegger is superb. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
Arnold Schwarzenegger returns from the future in order to save it in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It's one of the new summer movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. Also on this program, a special segment asking why Julia Roberts seems to be making parts of the same movie over and over again. I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune, and our first film is Terminator 2, and thanks to some truly spectacular and mystifying special effects, as well as some surprisingly solid acting, this is one terrific action picture. I enjoyed it a lot more than the original, and once again, Arnold Schwarzenegger plays a man-like machine sent back from the future to protect a little boy who, if he's allowed to grow up, can save the world from complete and total destruction. The only problem, there's another seemingly more powerful machine also sent back from the future that's out to kill the kid. Naturally, the conclusion of the film is a battle between the two machines, and the evil Terminator is really one of the great movie villains in a long time. As a human, he looks like a mean waiter who has been to the health club a lot. That's Robert Patrick as the bad Terminator, and under that skin, he is a mass of liquid metal that can change shape and seemingly can't be destroyed. You really have to see this picture to appreciate the special effects involving this guy. When a bullet is shot into him, there's a hole that closes up quickly. Slice him apart, closes back up too. Blast him into droplets, he comes together like mercury from a broken thermometer. Credit Dennis Muren from Industrial Light and Magic and the Academy Award-winning Stan Winston for the special effects and makeup. They deserve a special Oscar for this picture. Also credit the four principal actors. This film has been very well cast. James Cameron, writer-director, played a role in that, I'm sure. They spent a lot of money on this picture. They're going to get it back.
It is a terrific movie. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the way Schwarzenegger is somehow, he has this uncanny ability to find just the right note somewhere between seriousness and humor. There are some laughs in this movie, and they're always laughs with Arnold and not against the character, and they help to lighten a little bit the load of the special effects and of the violence and of the action. And also, one nice touch here, this Terminator has been ordered by the little boy to try not to kill people, which is a little bit of a difference for these special effects pictures.
Well, the other thing is, I want to go into some of the other casting, because Schwarzenegger does what he always does, but, you know, they could have cast a big Dolph Lundgren type as the bad guy here, and they picked this Robert Patrick, and he doesn't have a lot of charisma, but they knew that you cast this sort of slight guy, and he's somehow more lethal because he isn't obviously macho. Linda Hamilton is very good. She's got a neck as big as and strong as Schwarzenegger's. She's tough. She isn't made into a sex object, but she's a real presence there, powerful. It's terrific.
Okay, our next movie is
Here we are once again, and now we're talking Terminator 2, a movie that probably defined the 90s, along with so much, right? So I can remember as a kid being super excited to see Terminator 2. You know, it was just one of those movies that was just absolutely everywhere. You could not turn on the TV without seeing an ad for it. You know, talking about it on, like, back in the day, we actually used to watch, like, Entertainment Tonight, and we would watch stuff like, you know, about Terminator stuff. They would actually give you information on the movie, not what's going on in Hollywood and who's dating who and, you know, who's voting for this, voting for that. They would actually talk on sets of the movies and stuff, and we would get special looks here and there, and it just, like, the excitement brewed, you know, for Terminator 2. And I remember, you know, myself, my mom, my dad, my brothers, we all went opening weekend to see Terminator 2. And in that theater, it's just like a theater-going experience, man. It just, those, just thinking back to those in the day, they cannot just be topped today at all. There's something special about those movies back in the day that we have so much love and fondness for, like Terminator 2. And I could just remember sitting there and just being absolutely stunned. John Connor, you know, as a kid, and you relate to him, you know, around that age, is just like, yes, John Connor was like badass, you know, and the Terminator, seeing him as a good guy this time around, and then the liquid metal, Robert Patrick as the liquid metal Terminator, right? I mean, that was like a new next step in, you know, technology. But who would have thought it would have took us to CGI everything today? sad part about it. But it was just an incredible movie. Sarah Connor was like, she was back. She was buff. She was a badass now. They always say there's no female heroes to look up to. Sarah Connor, man, she was a badass. She kicked ass in Terminator 2. It was just an amazing movie, and, you know, so many great lines come out of the movie. Give me your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. You know, I'll be back, of course. And then, you know, hasta la vista, baby. That was big. That came out of that movie, hasta la vista, baby. I mean, like, I think everybody says that to this day. To this day, they still say that. It's one of Arnold's best performances, one of James Cameron's best. It's very touching. It's very emotional. You know, I didn't cry at the end. Spoiler alerts here. I didn't cry at the end, but when that thumb comes up and he goes down and he tells him before he does it, though, I know now why you cry, and he does that, and got you choked up, right? And then it's just incredible. So I absolutely love Terminator 2. The hype as they say, was real back in the day. And then, you know, I will show off a little bit of this for you guys. I have my Terminator VHS collection here I found at a thrift store. I wish I could get that off there, but it's great. It contains Terminator 1, 2, and a special documentary making about it. And it's got booklets and everything all underneath that. I'm not pulling it all out in this because it's hard to get all back in once you pull it all out. But it's got booklets and everything. This is an incredible VHS set. I'm so pumped to have it. Terminator 2, I mean, you just can't go wrong. Hasta la vista, baby.
I just was given a bulletin. Jack Palance is now on the Stairmaster. We'll keep you posted during the evening. He's apparently he's doing the Iron Man event tonight, and if you've never seen him on a bike in shorts, it's something. She is currently giving us chills in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, and he is making us laugh in The Addams Family. Here are Rebecca De Mornay and Christopher Lloyd.
Mr. De Mornay and I are pleased to present the Oscar for makeup, which Oscar never wears.
But you do, don't you, Mr. Lloyd?
Just a touch.
Here are 3 examples of how makeup artists apply their art, from their original sketches to their final creations.
The nominees are Christina Smith, Monty Westmore, and Greg Canham for Hook.
Michael Mills, Edward French, and Richard Snell for Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country.
Stan Winston and Jeff Dawn for Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
And the Oscar goes to, where's the envelope? The envelope.
You must be kidding. Would someone
Didn't you supposed to have the envelope?
give us a hand with the envelope, please?
The award for Best Achievement in Makeup goes to Stan Winston and Jeff Dawn for Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
We'd like to thank Steve Laporte, Peter Toffball, all the people in my studio, especially John Rosengrant, Shane Mahan, and Richard Landon, who've been with me from the start. The guy who sat in that chair for 4 hours every day and made this all work, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the brilliant director behind it all, Jim Cameron. Thank you.
And I'd like to give a special thanks to the 2 men who made this possible for me, made this all happen tonight. Bob and Wes Dawn, the late Bob and Wes Dawn. Wherever you are, guys, this is for you. Thank you very much.
Our next two presenters are the first mother-daughter team ever nominated, if you don't count Faye Dunaway in Chinatown. She's my sister, she's my daughter, she's my sister, she's my daughter, she's my... What's the... Rent it. So here they are, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Diane Ladd and Laura Dern.
Hi, Mommy.
Hi, Laura. My daughter thanks you. It says it, Laura.
Oh, we have lines. And my mother thanks you.
How gratifying it is to contribute to the movies. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our privilege to share with you how gratifying it is, because only in the movies is our grasp equal to our imaginations.
Today, there is nothing that cannot be made visual. The teams of artists and engineers who create our visual effects are limited only by budget.
Given enough time and enough money, there is nothing they cannot bring to the screen. The 3 films nominated this year are spectacular proofs of that proud boast.
The nominees are Backdraft. Nominees Mikhail Salomon, Alan Hall, Clay Pinney, and Scott Farrar digitally composited a quarter-scale model with live-action segments filmed on a large rooftop set, but with huge trap doors rigged to collapse. All this had to be timed and coordinated perfectly to achieve this spectacular visual effect.
In Hook, a grown-up Peter Pan is able to fly again thanks to the wizardry of Eric Breivik, Harley Jessup, Mark Sullivan, and Michael Lantieri. They utilized the blue screen process with a mechanical flying rig and an elaborate combination of computer graphics and manipulated matte paintings to create these truly wondrous flying scenes.
Terminator 2's fearsome liquid metal killing machine was created by using computer-generated images and digital image processing. Live-action production footage was scanned frame by frame in a computer. The results, an amazing example of the morphing technique by nominees Dennis Murin, Stan Winston, Gene Warren Jr., and Robert Skotak.
And the Oscar goes to... Laura, you open it.
The Oscar goes to Dennis Murin, Stan Winston, Gene Warren Jr., and Robert Skotak. Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Thanks to everyone at Industrial Light and Magic, and especially my incredible computer graphic team. To Janet Healy, Mark DePay, my wife Zara Gregory, and Gwendolyn, and especially Jim Cameron.
John, Shane, Richard, Matt, Debbie, and the genius, Jim Cameron.
My partner, Leslie Huntley, and the great crew at Fantasy 2, and the vision of Jim Cameron.
And my dear partner, Elaine Edford, my wonderful brother, cinematographer Dennis Skotak, all the great team at Forward, and to Jim Cameron, who's got to get one of these soon.
One day. Jim Cameron.
The Terminator composer Brad Fiedel returned for the sequel, working in his garage in Studio City, Los Angeles. Film industry professionals regarded his return with concern and skepticism, as they believed his style would not suit the film. Fiedel quickly realized he would not receive the finished footage until late in the production after most effects were completed, which made it difficult to commit to decisions, such as the use of an orchestra, because unlike ambient music, the score had to accompany the on-screen action.
We were submitted quite a few samples for possible
composers for the film. And needless to say, when you come to music, that's where you literally have no money left.
They had a low-budget action picture. That's what it was billed as. So I was like, oh, okay. You know, it wasn't anything I was super excited about. And we had that sit-down talk where the filmmaker tells you, sometimes before he shows you his film, what he feels the film is about and what elements are in it. And I'd been through a lot of those talks, you know, the philosophy and the depth of it and the dream of the filmmaker. And then in many cases they show you the picture and you're sitting there going, where is that movie? Where's the movie they were talking about? You know, it's like, is it there? I don't see it. Oh, there's a little, I understand what he was talking about. There's a little, you know, they're talking about some big concept and there's this one little thing that relates to it, you know. So I sat down and I must say I wasn't cynical, but I always was sort of, when, you know, Jim had a lot of big feelings about the film and passion for it, so when he spoke about it, it was very impressive, and I'm sort of, part of my brain's going, well, let's see, you know, and I'm watching the film and, you know, 10 minutes in I'm going, it's here. Wow, it's really here. What he's talking about is on the screen, you know, the depth of it and the mood and the energy of it and the intensity of it. And so I'm sitting going, I gotta do this, gotta do this. So we're watching the film and it's mattering more and more to me, and I'm really, you know, sort of feeling vulnerable, like, okay, now, you know, instead of being like, well, let's see, I'm going, oh, please, please, I hope you're gonna hire me for this movie. And there was a point, I guess, where he blows up and I go, if he gets up one more time, I'm leaving. I said it, I thought I was thinking it, and I said it out loud in the room. And then I'm sitting there thinking, I can't believe it. I can't believe I said that. I just lost the job. I just got very quiet and watched the rest of the film and figured, okay, well, that's it.
Brad really got the idea that this needed to have a percussive driving beat to go with the action of the film.
It was the idea of this mechanical man, in a sense, and his heartbeat.
He was great because he had no time, he had no money, and we were adding shots all the time in post-production as we'd get them in, and it didn't faze him a bit.
He did the whole score in his garage. It was a cool garage. I mean, he had a lot of good gear.
I had all these individual keyboards, and they had to be played individually. It was all live. Every note is live performed, with the exception of this. I had an Oberheim situation where I could put a little drum machine and a little those things were chained together, but it was their technology. It didn't interface with anything else. So if my Prophet 10 was going boom, 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 and the other thing was going I had to literally sit there live and change the tempo and try to get them to match. Part of the nature of the score is me trying to get control of the machines. While the machines are trying to get control of the people in the movie, I'm sitting here desperately trying to get control of these machines. When they finally get together in the police station, and he's now someone who had been like stalking her, they're now, you know, he's taking her and they're partners in a sense. And I thought, great, and they're escaping. Da-da-dum, dum, 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 you know, they're running out of the police station. And Jim heard that and he said, no way. He said, he said, that's going to open up a part of the brain of the audience that's sort of emotional and maybe a little intellectual, like, the theme, they're together, you know, it taps a little part of their, he said, I don't want to distract their synapses. I just want them like this, you know, I just want them to go, they're going to go, you know, so the music is the same, we just took the theme out, but underneath there was the running of it, you know, and the theme, I just thought, gave it this heroic moment, and he just said, no, and I think that in that awareness, he knew exactly why he didn't want the theme there. I hadn't worked with a director that had that level, that was dealing quite on that level.
Tri-star Schwarzenegger to arrange a entire music video and theme song for the film. He chose to work with rock band Guns N' Roses because they were popular and there was a rose in the movie and bloody guns. The band offered the use of You Could Be Mine, the debut single from the album Use Your Illusion 2. The music video featuring Schwarzenegger as a T-800 pursuing the band was directed by Stan Winston, Andrew Morahan and Jeffrey Abelson. Let Us Say Sarah Band released Fidel's Score, which spent 6 weeks in the Billboard 200 record chart, peaking at number 70. The theme song, You Could Be Mine, peaked at number 29 on the US Billboard Top 100. I performed well in the United Kingdom, Australia, Germany, Spain and Canada.
presenting the official limited edition jacket from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Until now, only cast and crew could hope to wear one. Black leather sleeves, black wool body, T2 embroidered in front, Terminator 2 Judgment Day embroidered in steel blue across the back. Order right now and save $30 off the normal $225 price. Act now and pay just $195. Order now. You won't get a second chance.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day was marketed with numerous tie-in products, including toys, puppets, trading cards, jigsaw puzzles, clothing, a perfume named Hero, and a novelization by Randall Frakes that expands on the film's ending. In 1991, Marvel Comics adapted the film into a comic book, and a T2 novel series by S.M. Sterling in the early 2000s.
Now that you've seen the movie, here's your chance to join the club. The official Terminator 2 fan club. Dial this toll-free number and join now for only $9.95. Your membership includes The Making of Terminator 2, a special collector's video cassette featuring a behind-the-scenes look at the making of this extraordinary movie. You'll also get the premiere issue of the T2 newsletter, the membership card, and special discounts on exclusive T2 merchandise, all for only $9.95. Plus, call this toll-free hotline right now to order these official high-quality Terminator 2 collector's items. The sweatshirt for only $24.95, the t-shirt for $14.95, and the embroidered cap for $9.95. Add $4.50 to all orders for shipping and handling. The cap, t-shirt, sweatshirt, and fan club. Order each separately or get all four, but order right now. Hasta la vista, baby.
In 1996, T2 3D, Battle Across Time, a live-action attraction, was opened at Universal Studios Florida, and later at locations in Hollywood and Japan. The 20-minute attraction was co-written and directed by Cameron and cost $60 million to produce, including live-action stunts in a 12-minute 3D film, starring Schwarzenegger, Hamilton, Patrick, and Furlong as the real-world characters, making it the most expensive film per minute produced of its time. In it, Sarah and John attempt to stop Cyberdyne, which has developed Skynet. They are confronted by the T-1000 but saved by the T-800, who returns to 2029, with John to defeat Skynet and enslave its creation, the T-1000.
The future is coming after you, ruthlessly, relentlessly, engulfing you, overwhelming you, until it ultimately terminates you. And only one thing can save you.
I said I'd be back.
Terminator 2, 3D Battle Across Time, an incredible new way to ride the movies, only at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida.
Hasta la vista, baby.
We are back again with the Terminator.
Yes!
T2 3D.
Cool. Well, Terminator.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, director James Cameron, and special effects master Stan Winston have reunited to continue the Terminator saga. But this time, they're back to create more than just a movie. Join them on a journey behind the scenes to Universal Studios Hollywood to witness the challenge of blending a live-action stunt show with an amazing 3D film for an experience unlike anything seen before.
We are back. Terminator is a giant phenomenon. Both of the films, the first two Terminators, have been done extremely well. They have been received all over the world with gigantic enthusiasm.
In the second film, everybody embraced it, even though we took the most sinister killer in history and turned him into a hero.
Come with me if you want to live.
Universal Studios Hollywood set out to bring the Terminator films to life and give the audience an experience beyond the movies, they turned to the Terminator's creators, Jim Cameron and Stan Winston.
Their idea in this was to integrate a film show with a live show, which I don't think anybody's really done. And then the logical thing was do it in 3D so that the objects on the screen can become almost indistinguishable from the people in the foreground, and you can actually create this kind of breakdown of the barrier between reality and film reality.
This is what will create tremendous excitement, because you will feel that you're actually part of the Terminator story, that you are the one that is part of being chased, that you're the one that is in danger while you're sitting there.
So we're dependent on a much broader team now. This is not just a filmmaking team. This is a filmmaking team and a live action team all coming together in a mix in a way that it hasn't come together before.
Because the experience of Terminator 2 3D would rely not only on film technology, but on live action as well, Universal Studios enlisted the talents of ride consultants Landmark Entertainment.
All the live guys understand that what we're doing ultimately interconnects with film. And likewise, all the film guys understand that this film doesn't exist on its own. It's going to be part of this live performance. This is the magic ground, you know, this is the film and this is the stage, and this is what has to happen. It's this area in the center, this part here, that is the unique new thing, and that is what makes this a unique new attraction.
This is deep.
The challenge was set. In order to create the next chapter in the Terminator story, a new type of theater would have to be designed and built at Universal Studios Hollywood. Audiences would find themselves right in the middle of an action-packed stunt show that, through state-of-the-art 3D, would blend seamlessly with an incredible 70mm film. For the first time in history, live actors would interact with the screen to bring the Terminator to life.
Excellent.
The genesis of the Terminator attraction was Universal Studios saying, come up with some idea for a Terminator stunt show. Universal has pioneered those things for the entire industry. They have really made it their mission to create something new, something you haven't seen or experienced before. And we owe that to Lucas and Spielberg and Cameron and those guys who have created movies that are so compelling and they involve you so much and the effects are so spectacular that the whole expectation level of the audience has gone up.
We went into it with this sense that we were not just doing a kind of knockoff ride or themed attraction to kind of just be spun out from the film, but one that would create a stepping stone to a third theatrical production.
Get down.
This is break ground. This is a new venue. As Terminator 1 was a new venue for film, this is a new venue.
As construction began on the Cyberdyne Theater in Hollywood, an exact replica of the stage was built in order to choreograph the live stunt show.
What we're using that stage to do is to define up front how we're going to have the live actors interface with the 3D. We do actual timings and how long it takes to get downstairs, how long does it take to get across the stage, and we establish the points where film or mechanical effect is going to interact with the actor.
Hey, that could work, that could work. Then you'll come down. They come to here and they see the targeting dots coming toward them. They move over to here and they get stopped by the ones from the other side.
Right.
You got what, 2 T-70s on each side?
Three on each side.
3 on each side, okay. So we actually have characters jumping into the screen, coming back out of the screen, and we're trying to break down that barrier between the audience and the events in the picture.
Are we learning yet?
Once the choreography and effects were established on stage, the next challenge was to create a 3D 70mm film that would complete the experience of Terminator 2 3D.
Try to put it together. My discussion with MCA went something like, if we're going to do this, let's really do it. Because they had sort of said, well, we'll get a guy, we'll put him in makeup, it'll be kind of a generic Terminator. I said, there's only one Terminator.
That's definitely you.
If we're going to do a 70mm film based on the Terminator films, let's get Arnold, let's get Eddie, let's get Linda, let's get Robert. Speak of the devil, just as I spoke your name, you appeared like a demon.
It's Cameron that really motivated me to come here and to do this thing.
You have to kind of sell it with attitude because you want to push him past you and get him ahead of you.
When he said, let's shoot this in 3D and all this, I was very enthusiastic. I said, I can work with him again. I don't have to worry about anything. I know when I come on the set, the shots are set up in the most perfect way and grand, the whole thing, and that he will have, again, the best team together.
And when you have someone as committed and creative and imaginative at the helm as Jim Cameron, then it's going to get done.
show up. Okay, here we go. Come slamming in. Stand by to roll. Stand by. You skid up to a stop. You look around. Then you see the T-1000 coming.
Here we go. Stand by.
Okay, here we go. Let's roll camera. Roll camera. And action, action.
I hit it like that.
When we come back, we'll see how Universal Studios Hollywood is bringing the Terminator to life beyond the movies.
End sticks, end sticks. That is it, cut. End sticks.
Of course, Cameron again goes a step beyond, and now he shoots 3D. So now we call it T2 3D.
In order to create the illusion of live actors jumping into a movie screen, Universal Studios Hollywood set out to create a realistic 3D film that would sweep the audience into the heart of Terminator's future war.
This movie is huge.
I mean, it was overwhelming when I thought about it. I had no idea what I was getting into as producer, I'll guarantee you.
Me and Arnold are going to jump into this screen, into this 3D world, and, you know, it's kind of continuing the T2 story.
Reuniting the production team from Terminator 2, the 3D film would require 3 weeks of night shooting in the Arizona desert.
It was wonderful going out and seeing this future war set out in the desert. It was very unsettling. It was a phenomenal set. It had surpassed the sets we had had on the previous shows.
I've never even heard of this place before. I said, what? We're going somewhere on the California and Arizona border. There's a steel mill. There's a mining town.
You know, we're out in the middle of the desert, out in the middle of nowhere, you know? And look at this. It's awesome.
Actually, give me a big yell, because I can carry that yell through the air on the stunt guy. John leaps on the motorcycle takes off, leaps through the time portal into the future, and we, the audience, get sucked through into the future behind them, and all of a sudden we're inhabiting their universe. Jump into the future, you stop and look back, he comes into the future behind you, and his hands grow into hooks.
Wow. T-1000 is still targeted on John and Sarah, and he's chased them back in time to the future world.
Here we go. Stand by, Robert.
You've gassed it, you've taken off. He's taking a swipe at you.
And when he gets in their camera range, about 6 feet away where I was swatting, I start swatting like crazy.
And slag!
He's gaining!
Let's run it a few times and we'll tie the camera in the movement of the camera. Okay.
The way Jim shoots with action is it's always a moving camera. And that was one of the biggest challenges we had.
Come down a little, Gino. Higher cliff. Swing the main arm over. Okay, up a little higher. Okay, Doug, you come to the right. This is a move.
You know, these 3D cameras aren't huge. These are 3D 70mm 2 cameras mounted. They weigh tons.
One is shooting down into a beam splitter and the other one is shooting through it in order to get the two images aligned.
So new equipment had to be developed to allow Jim to get the kind of shots that he wants to get.
We probably had every crane ever built maneuvering a 600-pound package around, including cable cam, which can move up to 30, 40 miles an hour. We hooked our 600-pound rig to that.
He came to me before we started shooting. He says, this rigging is entirely different than on Terminator 2. This enables me to get much better shots here.
For me, the trick to doing 3D is to not to have one kind of gag where something's coming straight out at you after another.
So basically what it amounts to is when you go, these things are growing right out to the audience.
You have to tell a story, you have to have a narrative, and you have to stick to the normal cinematic style. And then every once in a while, if something should happen to come off the screen and come into the audience, right, that's it. You try to integrate that in an organic way so the audience doesn't feel like they're just getting poked in the eye one time after another. Even though the goal is to poke them in the eye one time after another. Because I want to set the stage for a shot where we go into one of these hits and we see it come back and go past the lens.
Jim Cameron is a director that always goes all the way and then much more.
Lazy we don't want. Let me show you what I want you to do. It kind of goes like that. Why don't you shoot to my hand? You got to get your foot seated deep into this fender.
And he would drive everyone crazy about set decorating, what the set should look like. He has a very clear vision, and he is just such a perfectionist. That's just the way he is.
Okay, here we go, rehearsing.
Well, they kept saying you're going to be running a lot. How fast do you want to go? And I think I've run more in this than I did in the movie.
Action!
The wheels of the T-1000 really get stiff. But so far, I haven't let myself down. I caught him a mile up the road there.
There's a lot of running, escaping, trying to hide, trying to get away from the enemy and all those things. So I have to practice the spinning of the gun in a very efficient way and in a very accurate way in order to really sell the idea that it's a machine that I am. rather than a regular human being.
Careful, we need that camera.
Then I have this gun with me in the car, I have it in the office, I take it with me everywhere, just so I practice all the time, so it again becomes second nature.
That's fabulous. You cock the gun, fire again. His head comes open into the sauce head effect, which does stop him. He tumbles and falls.
You're going to see it blast open. This guy will be going down on the head.
Ready? And action!
That's bitchy. We just want to do one more. I want to lessen this fire. And we're on to the next shot.
Do one where we start on the robot. Perfect.
We have now that opportunity to take something we have developed to a certain extent and now develop it even a little bit further. We, of course, are bringing the endoskeleton back to life. We have walking rigs that are carried on Shane Mahan's shoulder. We have the endoskeleton attached to a crane arm. We use all of these different methods to take this machine that's supposed to be able to walk on his own and assimilate his walk.
Now the body is going to surge up and forward and down, right. And you're going to wind up in this position. The thing that was really important for me was because it was such a technological project with these huge cameras, very sophisticated visual effects and computer animation and all that, I always have to keep my eye clearly on the ball with respect to story and character. You're missing the point. As long as she's got ammo, she has to be fighting the T-1000. If she's fighting the T-1000 and we don't see the outcome, and we go into the future, and the next thing we know, the T-1000 comes jumping into the future with us, Sarah's dead. The audience finds their way into a story like this through the characters. And even beyond that, we've created new machines, new adversaries, new problems for the Terminator to face, and those are in 3D. So you're going to see a step in the evolution of the story and of the characters in T2 Battle Across Time, which may be finished in the third film.
In order to continue the dynamic action in the war between humans and machines, Cameron assembled an army of effects technicians and stuntmen. With a mind-boggling array of pyrotechnics, they would surround John and the Terminator with laser blasts from a flying hunter-killer, which would be added to the scene later in post-production.
And we can have them play around and come back in a big circle and then chase them.
There's going to be some laser hits raking across the ground behind you, right? Like that flying hunter-killer still chasing you.
T2 and John Connor get pinned into a parking structure, and the flying HK can't catch them, the big one. So it deploys 4 smaller guys, which are the flying hunter killers.
And then the mini hunters are going to come around the column and shoot at you from out there, and that's when you get shot in the back.
Arnold actually physically interacts with this one.
And the thing's still trying to fly. It's still. So you have to do, quit your whining, bam.
But the actual flying ones that are in the scenes will be completely 100% computer generated.
Yeah, and what we should do is time it so that it's chasing them, boom, 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 boom. They pass this, boom, it's behind them.
Once you get right here, the top of that building's going to go right there. 100 gallons of gas, okay? Top of the metal building. Boom, that goes, right? There, we rehearsed it 20 times. Oh, we're just going to push the bike slowly right now, and you can tell them what's happening. So we knew exactly how many seconds it took from them to get from their first position to their last position. This ain't going to take long to get through here. There's still going to be fire pluming up even as you get right up in here, right? There were probably 20 different effects guys on different buttons setting all that pyro off.
These are cork and spark hits. We're going to put these in the ground, shoot them, and it'll look like a strafing run.
This is where I'm triggering it. We call it a striker board. We'll connect it to that battery right before we get ready to shoot. And then I'll just take a screwdriver and it'll fire it off.
Okay, here we go. Stand by.
Okay, here we go. Let's roll cameras.
We're rolling.
And action.
That was a nice explosion. Pretty cool. This whole run is only 12 seconds.
It's getting hectic. From this position,
get down!
Hasta la vista, baby.
When we come back, we'll see how Universal Studios Hollywood faced the challenge of putting it all together for an experience that's breaking the screen barrier.
That's a wrap.
Very good, guys.
Thank you, one and all. I appreciate the scramble on that last take. I think we got it. It looked good.
Once Terminator 2 3D had completed principal photography, the production moved to Santa Monica-based Digital Domain for the challenge of creating mind-boggling, never-before-seen visual effects and blending them seamlessly into Cameron's action-packed 3D film.
Unfriendly skies, go, go!
We're able to put Arnold and Eddie Furlong on a motorcycle racing through the middle of a futuristic battlefield 100% realistically in 3D with the foreground in perfect stereo and the background in stereo, but the two weren't in the same place at the same time.
Now, can we get a time code on this shot?
One of the many things that's unique about this project is the way we're using the visual effects, because previous large format, 70mm 3D projects have been limited to using optical and miniature effects, and we're able to use 3D computer-generated animation or CG animation and spit that out at very, very high resolution.
That's Skynet?
Yep.
Can I ask why we're heading toward it?
You don't want to know.
At the very end of the show, after this long chase sequence in Act 2, we end up inside Skynet, a completely computer-generated environment that had to hold up on 3 screens, not 1, and in 3D, in stereo.
And we essentially built all the objects as though they existed in the same scale as the theatre. So our screens here are 50 feet wide. So these objects in our 3D spaces exist at that same kind of size. And that way we could place cameras as though they actually were the eyes of somebody in the audience.
Because the computer-generated animation of the 3D film would have to work in sync with the live action on stage, a series of tests were conducted to give the creative team an idea of how the two would work together.
We've been working on the stage for other timing purposes, but a week ago was one of our first real tests with the film.
This is great. All 3 screens are opening up for the first time, and the audience is going to be looking at this in 3D.
It's just blind choreography, just our best guess at what's going on. We have never seen it with film until maybe tonight.
And there were a lot of revelations that night. Jim was there, and we spent 3 or 4 hours really going through the live stage and as it relates to the 3D.
I'd really get marks down, hit these marks. It should look like a dance studio. You got to come up and you got to go like that. And then,
okay. If you want to full stop, that's easy.
I don't see how that's going to be possible until all this stuff is hard choreographed on the stage.
Yes, I agree.
And I don't see how that's going to happen until we start getting some more animation up here on the T-Make.
And that information then requires either us in the live staging to make changes or requires the film people to make some changes, modifications. You go through an iteration of change, come back. Okay, well, it actually takes this long for the live actor to run from this point on the stage to the other. So we now have to go back, change our animation in order to make all of these different things work. And we're kind of having to work together like this because there's no way to actually test it except to get in these mock-ups and do it with bodies on stage and film up there and put the glasses on, and you begin to see how these things are going to relate.
As final adjustments were made to the film and choreography, completion of the Cyberdyne Theater at Universal Studios Hollywood would include a wide array of pyrotechnics, physical effects, and specialized audio to create a completely unique sensory experience.
Automatic targeting systems active. Commence fire.
The sound design for T2 Battle Across Time is unique because it's a 3D experience, and we're trying to enhance the 3D picture by creating an illusion of 3D audio in this venue.
So they have to be able to see the sound and feel the sound coming to them. They also have to be able to feel and see the sound as it goes deep into the scene.
With a custom-made system using 24 tracks of digital playback and 66 separate speaker locations, the sound designers were able to completely engulf the audience in the Terminator experience.
There's no other theater like this in the world. This is a very unique experience, and I think that Universal seems to deliver on that. They're cutting new grounds every time, and this is definitely going to be something to try to beat.
Let's bust the move.
So the thing is really a kind of sensory assault at that level.
Hit it like nuts!
You are completely enveloped in this 3D world.
Break it! Break it! It's good!
just keeps coming at you.
We use environmental effects, 3D effects, it's the whole kitchen sink.
And that makes it huge and it makes it wonderful.
That's the kind of experience I want them to have, and that's what we will give them.
They'll go in thinking it's just some gimmick, and they'll see that it's actually a continuation of the storyline. It's almost like a third Terminator film. It's just that you can't go to see it in any theater in your neighborhood. There's only one or hopefully 2 theaters in the world that you can go to see the next Terminator movie in.
Let's go! He's gaining!
I don't think anybody's going to walk out of the theater disappointed, that's for sure.
He's right on us!
Mini Hondas, keep moving! Get down!
He's back in Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Enter the T2 telephone sweepstakes and lend the Terminator a hand, because he's going to give you his. Just call 1-900-737-T2T2 and you could win an endoskeleton hand, plus Midway's T2 video arcade game, an NES game unit with LJN's T2 cartridge, and more. $1.95 the first minute, $1.45 for each additional minute. Under 18, hands off, or get your parents' permission. Touch-tone phone only.
We've got to destroy the T-1000, come on!
Call 1-900-773-T2T2.
Play the T2 telephone game and help John Connor destroy the T-1000.
I've got to get to the lab to destroy the computer chip. You've got to help me.
Successfully complete your mission, and you could win an endoskeleton hand, Midway's T2 video arcade game, and more. $1.95 the first minute, $1.45 each additional minute. Under 18, get your parents' permission. Touch-tone only.
You've seen the movie, now play the telephone game.
Machine gun blasting, molten morphing Terminator 2 video game action in T2, the arcade game, and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Now on Super NES, Genesis, and Game Gear.
Several video game adaptations of Terminator 2 were published, including a pinball machine and an arcade game in 1991. The arcade game was popular enough to be ported to home consoles as T2 the arcade game. Multiple studios developed widely differing adaptations for home consoles, including Terminator 2 for the Game Boy, Terminator 2 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. A later adaptation was developed by the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And a different game was published for home computers.
When I play Terminator 2 with the Sega Menacer, I'm not afraid of deadly hunter killers, the indestructible T-1000, endless endoskeletons, the evil Skynet, nothing.
Bobby! Come give your Aunt Bertha a big kiss.
Well, almost nothing.
ready for grenade launching, machine gun blasting, molten morphing Terminator 2 video game action. Terminator 2 Judgment Day and T2 the arcade game on Genesis, Super NES, and leading game systems. Save the world or it's hasta la vista, baby.
A line of toys was released by Kenner to coincide with the film's release. Merchandise for Terminator 2 Judgment Day was estimated to have generated $400 million in sales by 1997.
It's the ultimate battle. T-1000 lands a crushing right hand. It's a fight to the finish. Terminator returns a shattering combination. Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Terminator 2, the future warrior brought back to save our world. His mission, to destroy the evil T-1000. In his mobile assault vehicle, Terminator scours the streets for his deadly foe. Adios, amigo. It's the ultimate confrontation as power-armed Terminator faces certain death, only to return stronger and more powerful as Techno-Punch Terminator. Hasta la vista, baby. Terminator 2, I'll be back.
Terminator!
I'm back. Got to find John Connor.
But evil T-1000 gets to him first.
Hey, back off.
Terminator's heavy metal cycle zeroes in and fires. But T-1000 stands to get even.
This is for getting on my bad side. You're next, John Connor. I'm back.
Terminator deploys his secret weapon.
Hasta la vista, baby. Terminated this time.
Terminator is back.
Terminator, now programmed to protect. He's the ultimate weapon against evil.
I'm power-armed Terminator.
But evil T-1000 can take any form.
You're no policeman. You're right. Fire! No problemo. Take this. You're finished. Not a chance. Now I'm a different Terminator. I'm Techno-Punch. Hasta la vista, baby.
Terminator.
I'll be back.
Each sold separately.
Terminator. He's all new with his meltdown bazooka, facing evil white-hot T-1000 with his arrow blaster.
You missed. Looks like T-1000 can't stand the heat.
Terminator is back.
Disappear.
Terminator.
Robotic endoskeleton, the bioflesh regenerator. Activate!
Now you can create your own Terminator with the bioflesh regenerator.
I'm back to protect. Yeah? Think again. Battle damage. Must return to bioflesh regenerator.
Add flesh compound.
Activate!
You are in control.
Terminator created. I'm back!
The bioflesh regenerator comes with 2 robotic figures and bioflesh compound.
Then off. Terminator.
I'm back.
Terminator's heavy metal cycle zeroes in and fires. But as evil T-1000 tries to get even, Terminator deploys his secret weapon.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Terminator is back. Terminator, the ultimate weapon against evil.
I'm power-armed Terminator.
But evil T-1000 can take any form.
You're no policeman. You're right. Fire! No problemo. Take this.
Terminator.
He's traveled across time and space. Finally, he's here. The ultimate Terminator. He looks mean. He sounds mean.
Hasta la vista, baby.
And with the awesome hand blaster, he's a real mean machine. The ultimate Terminator for the ultimate Terminator adventure.
I'll be back.
As a parent, I appreciate the importance of education, but I also appreciate the value of teaching our children good fitness habits. With all that proven benefit of regular exercise, you can see why physical education is so important to their future. Our children need healthy hearts to grow into healthy adults. So let's be sure that they grow up smart and fit. And if you're still not convinced, I'll be back.
On December 11, 1991, Terminator 2 Judgement Day was released on VHS and Laserdisc. It was a popular rental in the US and Canada, with a record 714,000 copies shipped to retailers, and it became the best-selling rental by mid-January 1992.
Hey, check this out. The biggest video of the year is here now.
The top-grossing film of the year is now on video cassette.
Stay here. I'll be back.
The movie that earned a staggering $52 million in its opening weekend alone, and has totaled over $190 million to date.
Get down.
Live presents the world's undisputed box office hero,
Arnold Schwarzenegger,
the megastar, whose films have totaled over $1.2 billion in ticket sales alone.
Come with me if you want to live.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
I'm Robert Patrick. In Terminator 2, I play the T-1000 prototype Terminator, the future's most fearsome machine, the most advanced, unstoppable, most technically perfect creation of all time, a force with no equals. And that description can be applied directly to Terminator 2, Judgment Day, the most spectacular film ever created. Being a part of a movie like Terminator 2 is the ultimate thrill for a performer. Now, Terminator 2 is about to become the ultimate performer for you. Have plenty of copies on hand because Live's TV ad campaign will have every renter awaiting street date. Get set for the biggest and most exciting event in the history of video. On behalf of Arnold, Linda, myself, and the entire Terminator 2 cast and crew, welcome to our team. We'll see you on video.
The biggest movie of the year will be the biggest video ever, because Live will back this film with a massive $10 million marketing campaign, a campaign that includes an exciting previously viewed program, along with fabulous pre-pack offers featuring free product and free T2 merchandise.
Excellent.
Our T15 pre-pack contains 12 units of T2, along with 3 units of Live's second December release, Drop Dead Fred. With this pre-pack, we'll give retailers an exclusive T2 sweatshirt, a T2 hat, and T2 sunglasses, a total value of over $50. And it only gets better. Our T20 pre-pack contains 16 copies of T2 and 4 copies of Drop Dead Fred. With each T20, retailers will receive the sweatshirt, the cap, and the glasses, along with an additional T2 video absolutely free. A total value of over $150.
That's great.
No problemo.
These pre-packs have a special early order date of October 29th, so act now before they're gone. Buy deep, because Live's previously viewed campaign will ensure that renters become buyers.
You sure?
I would.
This campaign includes multi-million-dollar TV advertising before and after street date that encourages renters to buy previously viewed T2 cassettes. This multi-tiered campaign will air on network, cable, and spot TV from November 1991 through March of 1992.
Coming on video cassette. It isn't easy getting a movie this big into a box. This small. Arnold Schwarzenegger, T2, coming on video cassette. Ask your video store about purchasing previously viewed cassettes.
Plus, we'll fire up previously viewed excitement with POP that includes a standee, giant-sized previously viewed stickers for placement on T2 standee and poster, along with eye-catching previously viewed Buy Me stickers for ready-to-move T2 cassettes. Plus, every consumer who rents T2 will see this special commercial at the front of each T2 video, reminding them to ask about purchasing previously viewed cassettes.
All around the world, people are asking the same question about Terminator 2.
Whoa, how did they do that? I've got to see that again. I can't believe it.
I can't believe we rented this tape and you're going through it 30 seconds at a time.
Come on, Dad, I want to see Arnold. Incredible.
It's the kind of movie most people want to see over and over.
Amazing.
Wow. Don't you dare rewind that thing again.
So video retailers everywhere are offering previously viewed copies
Aha.
at a very special price.
I think you've been watching a little too much Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So go to your video store and purchase your own T2.
All right, Arnold.
Now we can all enjoy the movie.
Just when you thought you'd seen it all, see it again.
Trust me.
So welcome to the team of the most exciting video event of all time. With $10 million in marketing support, the biggest previously viewed campaign ever, and the best pre-pack offers yet. The top-grossing movie of the year will be the most profitable film in the history of your business.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Terminator 2, Judgment Day. All around the world, people are asking the same question about Terminator 2.
Whoa, how did they do that? I've got to see that again.
It's the kind of movie most people want to see over and over.
Amazing.
So video retailers everywhere are offering previously viewed copies.
That's great.
At a very special price.
All right, Arnold.
So go to your video store and purchase your own T2.
I insist.
Just when you thought you'd seen it all, see it again.
Trust me.
Every Blockbuster Video has thousands of great movies, which means every Blockbuster Video has thousands of great gifts, plus great new releases like this.
Once he was programmed to destroy the future. Now his mission is to protect it. Get down. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Terminator 2. Judgment Day. Rated R from Carolco Home Video. This time he's back for good.
Blockbuster Video. Thousands of great gifts at great prices for everyone on your list.
Stay here. I'll be back.
Take home all of the action. Take home all of the thrills. Live Entertainment offers you great ways to own the series that's a must for your video library.
Trust me.
First, The Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day are priced to own at $14.98 each. Or purchase both films in the Terminator Collection for just $24.98. Or the Letterbox Edition for $34.98. Take home adventure.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Take home The Terminator.
Run. Ride. Or fly. To your nearest video store.
Go! Now!
And grab Terminator 2 for the best price ever.
Trust me.
Come with me if you want to live.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Terminator 2, wherever videos are sold.
Now available at Strawberries for $14.99.
Call now to order Arnold Schwarzenegger. Terminator 2, winner of 4 Academy Awards.
You just can't go around killing people.
Why? He's back and he's yours. Order now through this exclusive direct home video offer.
Stay down!
Don't wait any longer.
Go! Now!
Your order will be rushed direct to your door.
We gotta stick together!
Call now. This exclusive direct home video offer will be available for a limited time only. Rated R.
Call now to order Terminator 2 for only $19.98. For faster delivery, please have your credit card ready. Sorry, no CODs. Makes a great gift. Call now. 1-800-342-3000. That's 1-800-342-3000.
Same make. Same model.
You just can't go around killing people.
New mission.
Come with me if you want to live.
Now he's mankind's last hope
We gotta stick together.
of stopping the future's ultimate weapon.
He's a Terminator like you.
Not like me. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Hello everyone, Rider Rated 18 coming at you, and this is a quick review for Terminator 2 Judgment Day on Laserdisc, one of the greatest films ever made, one of the greatest action films ever made, one of the greatest science fiction movies ever made. It is truly up there as one of the greatest of all time, but if you really want to experience it on home video, Laserdisc is your format. I mean, VHS was charming, but it does have its limitations. DVD and Blu-ray obviously helped a little bit, but we've all seen what happened with the 4K. That kind of ruined the film. So really, if you really want to enjoy this film, Laserdisc is your format. Now, so the film came out in 1991, so this home release was from 1992, according to the back, and it was released by Guild Home Video. And this is also the theatrical version. So this was a few years before the special edition came out. And I actually don't mind the theatrical version. You know, it does flow a lot better because the extra scenes for the special do drag up the runtime, and it does slow it down quite a lot. So I do prefer the theatrical version. In terms of the picture quality, it's as good as you're going to get with Laserdisc. I mean, it has its limitations. I think some of the Japanese releases might have been a bit better from what I've heard, but in terms of outright picture, this is as good as you're going to get. In terms of the sound and audio, it is absolutely superb. You know, you hook this up to any soundbar, any AV receiver or surround sound system, you're going to annoy your neighbours with this film. You've got to crank it up and really appreciate it. This is also a CLV release, so that's 60 minutes per side. So you've got the film on 2 sides for the first disc, and on the 3rd side for the second disc. And on the 4th side, it's got the retro making of, which is a 30-minute documentary that was made at the time. It was on American television, and I'm pretty sure BBC One showed it before the premiere in 1994. And it's one of those sort of, you know, retro making ofs where everyone's interviewed and they all pat themselves on the back and say how awesome it was. There's interviews with Arnold, there's interviews with Linda Hamilton, James Cameron, Edward Furlong, Stan Winston. It's very standard, but it's just nice to have it on this release. So yeah, if you just want to see the back, there's some cool pictures on the back here. So there's a bit more information about the film, and it's got all the information about the making of that's on there. And also, this is a gatefold release, which is really, really nice. Not all releases had gatefolds, and you can see all the chapter stops there, pictures and more production notes. I mean, just look at that. You don't really get this on any other video format. It's so good. In terms of the price, you can get this one for a very good price, because I got this one from a job lot, so you know, didn't really pay that much for it. But you know, if you want to get this one individually, it'll probably cost you between like £5 to £10. It's not really that expensive and not very rare. It's quite common, so don't get fooled by any sort of extortionate prices on eBay or any other means where you want to try and buy it. So yeah, it's highly recommended if you want to get Terminator 2 on Laserdisc. This is the prime disc you want to get. And also, yeah, it's just absolutely everything you want from Terminator 2. So for now, take care, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
From Artisan Home Entertainment, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the ultimate action movie, is now the ultimate DVD.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Over 6 hours of content and 40 DVD features, including 3 widescreen newly remastered digital versions.
Excellent.
Never before seen footage, Dolby Digital 5.1 Surround EX sound, and a 32-page collector's booklet, all packaged in a limited edition metal case. If you own a DVD player,
trust me,
you must own this DVD. Buy it today.
Hasta la vista, baby.
This August, Artisan Home Entertainment brings you the ultimate star in the ultimate action movie with the ultimate technology for the ultimate mind-blowing entertainment experience. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the ultimate DVD. See and hear this acclaimed science fiction adventure like never before. Own the newest in DVD technology, DVD 18, with a dual layer and double-sided format, compressing over 6 hours of programming onto one disc.
Go!
With 3 16:9 widescreen, newly remastered digital versions, including the theatrical version, the special edition with 15 additional minutes, and the extended special edition with 5 more minutes of footage never before seen on VHS or DVD.
Fire in the hole!
It's the ultimate DVD with the ultimate sound package for the first time ever. Dolby Digital 5.1 Surround EX with a new sound remix on 7 channels, and DTS 5.1 ES available for the first time on DVD 18.
Excellent.
Audio commentary from cast and crew, including Arnold Schwarzenegger and James Cameron.
Yes!
3 exclusive documentaries, The Making of T2, T2 More Than Meets the Eye, an exploration of the special edition of the film, and T2 3D, Breaking the Screen Barrier, an exciting look at the creation of the new theme park attraction. And that's not all.
Of course, I'm a Terminator.
With Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the ultimate DVD, you get loads of special DVD ROM features, a web link that will test your skills as a resistance fighter, the entire screenplay, over 700 storyboards, teasers and trailers, and more, all adding up to more than 40 features.
I have detailed files.
T2, the ultimate DVD, comes wrapped in its own new Millennium Limited Edition Special Collector's Case with a special 32-page booklet. Home entertainment has never been this good.
Trust me.
If you own a DVD player, you must own this disc. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the ultimate DVD. Judgment Day, August 29th, 2000, from Artisan Home Entertainment.
If you think you've seen it all, think again. Terminator 2 Judgment Day Ultimate Edition DVD.
Come with me if you want to live.
Before you see T3, get Terminator 2 Judgment Day Ultimate Edition DVD.
Hasta la vista, baby.
So I've set up my nice little backdrop of Terminator stuff. So let's have a look at what I've got. So a few of these things I picked up recently to fill in the gaps. This is a Terminator 2 t-shirt. Now this is similar to the one I had originally back in '91 when it came out. Also had the standard poster one. Unfortunately I wore them so much and outgrew them. Then we'll get on to VHS tapes. So first of all, we might as well just chuck this one in. The Terminator and Terminator 2 making of. Probably fooled a few people that this was the film, but it's not. It's just the making of. 2 25-minute documentaries, I guess they call them, made back in the day. Then I have the X-Rental VHS tape, only $2.25 a night, bargain. But it's a guild release, so it's always good quality. So then the retail, which is blue, not gold. But exactly the same, yeah, 15 cigarette. I think it's identical, yes. Hang on, 2 hours 10 minutes? 2 hours 10 minutes, exactly. So this packaging came out in '92. Then there were many re-releases, like this one, which is the Forefront Video budget release, and it's still 2 hours 10 minutes. So yeah. These are well loved. Then there's another Forefront Video release, which is this landscape picture of Terminator 2 with the making of, which we saw earlier. But yeah, 22 minutes for the making of. Otherwise, it's all the same. What else we got here? One more. Oh no, 2 more VHS. The special edition, which came out in the early 2000s. So we've got a documentary, TV spots, trailers, but I still think it's the, if I can see the time anywhere, an hour and 43 minutes. But this is sealed, so I'm not going to play it to see what's on it. And finally, in August 1997, we had the widescreen edition, or the T1000 edition. Originally, some of these came with a little lenticular postcard of the battle on the front, but I haven't been able to track one down. But this is 2 hours 27 minutes. So yeah, August 29th, 1997, I believe this came out when I bought it in the shops. So that's VHS there. But let's make some room. One of my favourite box sets is here now. The T2 limited edition box set, which isn't that limited because these are about 10 a penny, but they're hard to find in good condition. Normally they've rusted, even though this is dents and signs of rusting. I'm just trying to remember how to open it carefully. There we go. So you just get a little leaflet about games, little moulded cover to hold it in. a little booklet about the film and who's in it and how they made it. But then you just got basic tapes of a cardboard box Terminator. And there we go. That one again. This one does include the making of Terminator 2 as well. But apart from that, that's all you're getting. So we've got DVDs. So I got this First Blood and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I think it's on 1 or 2 discs. 1 disc. Flipper. Then a Terminator 2 Judgment Day from Woolworths. So it's just the single disc in a different packaging. Look at this odd one here. This is... which country is this? Not UK. Canada. So it's got a bevy of extras. But I can't run it. But a little booklet for that one as well. Yeah, 2 pages. So like that. Then of course the proper version. So what's the single edition? The digitally remastered, which was with DTS sound. And as I was saying about rusty tin boxes, here's the Ultimate Edition. This was very big when it came out at the time. All those extras. Let's see if I can open it. Then we get the lackluster poster. Not a fan of this poster, I prefer the other one, but this has got more features again. And then we got the 2 discs and a whole booklet about the making of. And why not the Blu-ray? That's a better picture. I think that's still not great, but again with bonus features. And I haven't got the 4K as yet. Then we get to printed media. So I've got the book by Randall Frakes. It's a bit dog-eared, but it was the cheapest one I could get, and I'm not too fussy about the cover when it's, as long as the pages are alright inside, seems to be. And then the comics I got. Now, there was a 3-part Marvel comic, and it's only this week that I actually completed my collection. I think I got this one and the third one from different places. So this one cost me 50p. But, so there you go. It's hard to flick it through, because it's very old paper. But, good pictures. So then the second part, yeah, this is one I got recently off eBay. So it's just a continuation, yeah, same. Bam, boom, whoom, whoosh. But I haven't read it yet to see if it's any different, but it does end a different way, as we'll find out in this bit. And there you go, X-Men action figures. But, where are we? So yes, the ending, spoilers, yeah, seems Arnie jumps into the vat. Although he's holding a chain, doesn't need to be lowered in it, but that's how it ends. And then I also have the booklet of all 3 in one. So better quality pictures and paper, but ends exactly the same. And I had this originally, but I had to buy it again for this reason. The making of book, £6.95 back in the day, but that's before we had DVDs and YouTube to see how they made things. Then we go to some music. I've got Guns N' Roses' You Could Be Mine from Terminator 2. It came out before the film did. But check out the music video. Civil War in the background. There's this, doesn't really count, but the UK radio station Radio 2 did a a spoof song about Terminator 2, and it sounds like this.
Here's a lesson from the future. It's Arnie etiquette. P's and Q's just make you lose these things that you should get.
Arnie and the Terminators. Right, and we got the soundtrack album on vinyl by Brad Fiedel. So we got 20 tracks. Nothing fancy. The Laserdisc. Now, I've recently picked this up, so you probably saw it already. But the picture of the T-1000 in the background makes it look like Tommy Wiseau from The Room. But pretty good poster. So this is the widescreen, the special edition. So that's the extended version. So then we get a bit of details about the film, chapters, etc. And then we'll look at one of the discs, they're both identical. Nice little out paper. And there it is. So extended play. This is a CLB. Nice and shiny. Shame I can't play it. There we go. That's it for now.
The ABC TV premiere of Terminator 2 Judgment Day was on May 15, 1994.
It's his biggest blockbuster ever.
I'll be back.
A network television premiere. Catch him and her.
Hasta la vista, baby.
In Terminator 2, Sunday, here on ABC. Parental discretion advised. Coming this Sunday.
Stay here.
It's him.
I'll be back.
In his biggest blockbuster ever. It'll blow you away.
Trust me.
All over again.
Of course, I'm a Terminator.
The big muscle-bound dude.
Come with me if you want to live.
The buff chick.
Don't even think about it.
And a huge hunk of liquid death. A network television premiere.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Terminator 2, Judgment Day, arrives Sunday here on ABC. Parental discretion advised.
Sunday, blast into the new year with Arnold. He really knows how to have a smashing time. Hamilton, Schwarzenegger.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Terminator 2, Sunday. Parental discretion advised.
Hasta la vista, baby. We done it. Lol.